of cake is it's old.
Is that
You got
birthday
some
cake?
good
Who
feeling.
birthday is it?
I don't know what it. I mean, I don't
Looks
know what
spongy.
cake it is. I think it's like my brother's girlfriend's cake. I think.
Well, that looks spongy. That looks spongy. I'm on my way.
That's a nice piece of cake right there.
But
Oh,
vanilla
Looks
thanks,
really
cake,
thanks,
good.
brother.
That
vanilla
looks
cake
mighty
is my
delicious.
bro. Vanilla cake's my favorite. It's not too sweet, not too nothing, bro.
I like vanilla cake,
It's right.
but I don't like chocolate cake. I think I'd rather take chocolate
Facts.
ice. I'm taking chocolate ice cream over
No,
vanilla, but
no,
I'm definitely
no,
taking vanilla
no,
cake
Luis. He's not
over.
lying. I don't like chocolate cake unless you have it with the extra frosting or the
Yeah.
filling. Like,
Do you
Vanilla's
like
better
red
than
velvet? Do you like red velvet at least? You like
oh
red velvet?
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Red velvet is valid.
All right, cool.
Of
No
course.
question. That's my favorite cake. Of all the cakes, that is my favorite cake.
As Bill Cosby always says, "That is great."
I don't think you want to be quoting. No, man. Go ahead,
Nah,
B.
nah, we don't want to go there. But anyway, welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast. It's your boy Sports PSP. Hope everyone is enjoying a beautiful Friday evening. I hope everyone had a great day at work. I hope everyone is at home right now, chilling, relaxing, enjoying, getting ready for the weekend. We got a great panel, great show. First, let me introduce one of the panels. Aiden, how you doing, my man? You got a big game this upcoming week, this Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs, man. How do you feel?
Stressful. Very, very stressful.
All right. But I think you're gonna have I think you're gonna be in a bit of a surprise because we're gonna talk about the AFC NFC championship picks later on. Of course, we got the ambassador of the Carolina Panthers, Harrison. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Shout out to Dave Canales, who's actually congratulations for getting the head coaching job. He's already been cooking right now because we already released a lot of our coordinators. Hopefully and also he signed a 6-year contract, which is absolutely insane. And yeah, just can't wait for the off season. Can't wait to start cooking.
All right, we got my man Luis in the building. Also, go check out his content, wrestling stuff, man. This dude knows his wrestling. He knows his Miami Dolphins, things of that nature. Tell him, man, how you doing, bro?
Pleasure to be here as always, PSP. Like I said, apologies for leaving early, but now we definitely gonna be here for the full episode. Very excited. Shout out to Champ. Congratulations to Champ for launching his podcast. We're very proud of you, brother. Honestly excited. I turned my wrestling page into just a full-on sports page, so I'm gonna be covering all things Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins, wrestling, and UFC. That I've been wanting to do that for a long time. Show that other side of me. So I'm definitely excited. But thank you. It's always been an honor to be on your show. Appreciate it. And yeah. Take it over, champ.
All right. And also go like and subscribe to Luis, man. He is great. And of course, last but not least, undisputed world champ. And by the way, folks, go check out his podcast yesterday. It was a great podcast, very first time. Also, make sure like and subscribe to his YouTube, his TikTok, Instagram, any other social media he is on. Champ, man, how you doing, man?
Shout out to Columbus, Georgia, as usual. I appreciate everything. PSP, always a pleasure. Hey, man, thanks for coming on the show yesterday. You guided me through that just nice. I really appreciate that, bro.
Always. I'm actually kind of shocked that you actually view me in that favor because I don't know if I put you on the podcast game. I think Brandon probably put you on the podcast game, but hey, I'll take credit where credit is due, man. And by the way, Champ was phenomenal. Please go like and subscribe to him. Please go like and subscribe to everybody else. Also, Brandon from the block, also Mario, also a lot of other people. Let's get into it. Let's talk about last weekend's NFC divisional recap. You had the Green Bay Packers against the San Francisco 49ers. Tough one for the Green Bay Packers, especially the missed field goal late in the game. Jordan Love with the interceptions. Brock Purdy overall didn't play particularly well, but I thought in that last possession, he stepped up where it counted most. I don't know whose noise is that in the background. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, the 49ers pulled off the victory. Luis, I'm going to let you go first, man. What did you think about the game between the Packers and 49ers?
Just want to give a big shout out to Jordan Love. This is his first full season starting, the first full football season he's played in 5 years. So he looked very good, looked very sharp. Honestly, he did make some mistakes, but I mean, you can't learn that behind Aaron Rodgers. I took that quote from Chilltown. But honestly, Jordan Love is going to be a future All Pro. In my opinion, he's that dang good of a quarterback. As for the 49ers, they look very vulnerable. Matt LaFleur, he wrote the book on how to beat San Francisco, or at least gave the blueprint to Dan Campbell on how to beat San Francisco. They look incredibly vulnerable. They didn't look like the San Francisco that we know how San Francisco can be. Brock Purdy had an off game, but he did put together a wonderful drive, a very good drive, and he showed some of that raw talent that people thought he didn't have. So overall, Green Bay over exceeded expectations. San Francisco looks incredibly vulnerable, and that's personally my takeaways from it. San Francisco, I don't think 49ers fans should be as confident as they think they are, because if Dan Campbell can copy that blueprint, it's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night, and it's going to be a dogfight, and they're going to bite some kneecaps off. So, but that's how I feel. Jordan Love, future All Pro. Like I said, I'm a big Jordan Love guy now. He turned me from hater to believer. That man's the truth.
All right. And of course, we can't talk about the Green Bay Packers without their ambassador, Leaf Diggy. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to his YouTube, his Twitter, any other social media. He's on Instagram as well. Leaf, man, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. I just got back in the crib, but I'm straight.
What's your thoughts on the Packers 49ers game from last weekend?
Very simple. I called the last 6 possessions, and before they actually happened, I was 100% right on them. We the youngest team in NFL history to win a playoff game was up 21-14 over the biggest front runners in the NFC, and the NFL just said no. They said no, so whole bunch of crazy events started happening. All of a sudden, Brock Purdy only. Hold on. No, I'm gonna continue this. Hold on.
This is very important. Like, this is like breaking.
What happened? What happened?
Vince McMahon has resigned from all roles from WWE and TKO. They just let him go.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, that's
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Leaf. I apologize, bro.
We'll talk about that in another time. But yeah, that is huge breaking
news.
I'm sorry, Leaf. I didn't mean to be rude like that. I apologize.
But anyway, Leaf, go ahead.
The NFL basically said no. All of a sudden, Brock Purdy, who couldn't convert on first and second downs, he was converting on every third down there was. More picks was being dropped. We had a chance at not only 1 but 2 picks in the game that could have ended the game and could have made the 49ers and every last one of their fan bases look like fools. I'm just mad at people hitting me up, 49ers fans, like Chilltown on PC flexing, bro, like they dominated the game. They didn't. It was just a whole bunch of youth that was shown at the end of the game. But in my eyes is what I saw, bro. Like, I saw a whole lot of shit that I've seen in past games before, man. I showed a whole lot of scripted shit, bro. I ain't gonna speak no more on it, man. They can have that.
Wow. All right. We're gonna get to Leaf in just a second, but Aiden, your thoughts on the Packers 49ers game?
I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't really watch this game at all, so I can't really say much about it. Instead, I did look at the stats. Jordan Love had a good game. It's just some of his decisions and some of his decision making wasn't really that good, and there's a lot of mistakes out there. And as you saw, as we heard Luis talking about earlier, we did not see the same San Francisco that we've been seeing for weeks now. And yeah, that's
Harrison?
mostly all I got.
It was a good game. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I don't believe in fucking Brock Purdy whatsoever. I still want to believe in CMC because I really want that man to win a ring because he worked his ass off for us. He worked his ass off for that organization for San Francisco and Carolina. But Brock Purdy, dude, Brock Purdy's so fucking ass, bro. I don't give a fuck if he's still on that offense or not. I don't care what people say. But J Love had a good game though. I mean, what do you have? 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, over what is it, over 300 yards or is it 200 yards?
I'll look up the stats for you.
Okay, because I mean, I know CMC had himself a game though. Kind of like a good game. I mean, but either way, it was a good game. But at the end of the day, I just smelled the script already. I could smell it from a mile away.
All right. To help you out, Harrison, Jordan Love threw for 194 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions with a passer rating of 72.4.
Oh, he was ass. Oh god, nasty.
Big Champ, talk to me, man. What were your thoughts on the Packers 49ers game?
Hey, number one, you might want to watch out this weekend, 49er faithful. Don't get caught slipping. Don't get caught slipping. Hey, I'm just going to be honest with you. The youth caught up with him. And that's all that is. Jordan Love, once he gets the experience that he needs, and it may have been this year, once he gets the experience that he needs, that's going to be enough to put these guys over the top. Because he nearly got them last week. And I can assure you, if that would have happened, we would have been singing a whole nother tune about Brock Purdy and the 49ers. But like I said, he's by years, he's not a rookie, but this was his first full year. Young team, young personnel. Hey, Matt LaFleur definitely deserves a lot of credit, but hey, heck of a game by the Green Bay Packers. Hey, first Green Bay Packer quarterback in order to have a playoff win in his very first year and reach the playoff. Remember, not only did Bart Starr not do that, Don Mikowski, Lynn Dickey, he didn't do that, Brett Favre, nor Aaron Rodgers. None of those guys did that except for Jordan Love in his very first year as starter. So as the youth, as he escalates in his progression and becomes more of a veteran, it's going to be some interesting things to see what he does for this Green Bay Packer franchise. Shout out to Green Bay, as always, developing young quarterbacks. And if you ever notice, they're always criticized for doing that. And to their credit, it's better to have a person out of the door too early than too late. And you saw the results. This year. You know, Aaron Rodgers came into this season, and unfortunately, you never wish injury on anybody, but he tore his Achilles. He was able to make a comeback. I think if they would have been more competitive in the playoff, we may have saw a comeback by him, but unfortunately, it was not to be. But shout out to Green Bay, developing quarterback, developing their whole roster. Youngest roster in NFL history. You got to give big ups to that front office and big ups to that organization for them to keep reeling off these quarterbacks the way they is. They are arguably the most richest quarterback franchise in history. So shout out to them. 49ers looking very vulnerable. Watch yourself this Sunday, 49er faithful.
Let me get into this. I think I picked the 49ers to win this one. I was not at all surprised with the outcome. I thought Green Bay played well. I think Jordan Love over time will get better as his career goes on. He's definitely the type of quarterback that Green Bay is very fortunate to have. And to Champ's point, you know, Green Bay, rich quarterback history from Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and I think Jordan Love. Do I think Jordan Love is going to be Aaron Rodgers? Only time will tell. But let's see. But the kid has a bright future. I just think in that last situation, that last drive, he made a costly mistake. But I think it was more to do with the 49ers because, again, Leaf brought up history. Leaf talked about how the Green Bay Packers, how they've owned the Dallas Cowboys, right, Leaf?
Yeah, I talked about that.
Hasn't the 49ers owned the Green Bay Packers? particularly in the playoffs. Because if you look at it, Aaron Rodgers 0-4 against the 49ers. Now, Jordan Love, this is his first game. Again, we need to see more from Jordan Love, but I think his future is bright. But I think it has to do with the 49ers perseverance. Now, again, they're going up against a young Detroit team. Champ has talked about the experience between Jared Goff versus Brock Purdy. That's the difference. I do think the 49ers will win, but I think it's going to be a very close, competitive game. We'll talk about that in just a second. But I don't understand, why are people saying Brock Purdy is ass? Like,
Because he is.
that's no, he's not ass.
He is.
If he's
Okay, you know,
ass,
how about this? I'm
no,
sorry. How about this? I'm sorry.
if you
Okay,
want to say he's mid,
He's top
okay,
15.
fine.
There you go.
No, when someone says he's ass or trash, that's like he's Nathan Peterman. Like, Brock Purdy ain't Nathan
I
Peterman,
think he's an above average quarterback.
right?
He's like, okay, here's a good. He's like Alex Smith. I
You
mean,
put
I,
him on the cap.
Alex Smith was good for a couple years though.
I
Hey,
mean,
Harrison, bro. I apologize in advance, but if you put Brock Purdy on the Carolina Panthers, he is Nathan
Brock-
Peterman.
I mean, why do you have to say sorry? I mean, it's kind of facts. I'm like,
Okay, but Leaf, here's the thing. No one is saying Brock Purdy is a game changer or a difference maker. That's not what we're saying. But the problem I have is when people say, like Kenny, for an example, he says he's ass, he's trash. That's the problem where I have with people saying that with Brock Purdy. Do I think he's an elite quarterback? Of course not. But to say that he can't play or he doesn't belong in the NFL, I think we're going entirely too far. If he's trash, then what is Nathan Peterman? Let's not forget Nathan Peterman, his first game as a starter, he threw 5 interceptions.
He did.
He was bad.
oh god, that
Very
was against the Chargers, I think.
Yes.
Very bad. But to get to your whole 40 quote 49ers owning the Packers, the only reason why it seems that way is because of the 0-4 record that Aaron Rodgers has against them, because they were very irrelevant after Brett Favre got rid of Steve Young that year. That year we marched and made a run, and then eventually we won the Super Bowl, and then went to another Super Bowl and lost to Denver. So that, like, a lot of that is irrelevant. Realistically, there's a reason why the
But
49.
wait a minute,
There's a
Leaf. How
reason.
can you
Hold
say
on.
it's how
There's
can
a
you say
reason.
it's irrelevant? Because again, you kept
It's
telling me the
irrelevant.
Packers all the time with the Dallas Cowboys. They've owned the Cowboys, right?
Right. But I could say that because the Dallas Cowboys' last Super Bowl win was in 1996. When was the 49ers' last Super Bowl win again? 1995. Sound a lot like the Cowboys to me, bro. Like, listen, the bottom line is this. We all know that the NBA the NFL has a habit of main character syndrome, bro. It's not a coincidence that why the 49ers and the Chiefs are once again back in the AFC and the NFC championship game again. We know what this shit is, man. I'm washing my hands with this.
I'm sorry, bro.
I know what happened, bro. Everything in that fourth quarter, bro, look very, very fucking staged, bro. And I'm laying on that, bro. 49ers
Okay,
fans
but
ain't shit,
here's
bro.
the thing, Leaf. I think bottom line, you did this to yourself. You did this to yourself, Leaf. Period in the story. You did this to yourself.
Whether I did or if I
No, you
didn't,
did.
but
You did, Leaf. Let me tell you
listen,
why. You went on Brandon's pod and then you claim, hey, the Packers, I don't fear the 49ers. I don't fear any team in the NFC.
and we didn't. And
And what
you
happened?
saw how we played.
Yes.
You saw that game, bro. Like, we didn't fear it. Listen, this is the youngest team in NFL history, quote unquote kids as we were called, bro. And we were taking the number one team in the NFC, bro, head all the way to the end, bro, and only to get told by the NFL no. I know what happened, bro, because I've been watching this shit for too many years. You don't see shit like this happening. If you go to a high school football game or youth football game, you ain't gonna never see no shit like this happen the way it happened on the field in that game in that fourth quarter. Never. You know why? Because it ain't no money involved. It was money involved. That's why we lost. That was the only reason. That was the only way we was gonna lose to the 49ers, bro. The 49ers can't
Then
beat us
explain
without the
missing that
NFL
field
help.
goal, Leaf.
NFL's help.
What?
Wait,
Bruh,
what?
Can I interject on this real
Just
quick,
Go
guys?
ahead, champ.
let me explain it to you, bro. You don't need a formal conspiracy when interests converge, bro. The same people that Roger Goodell have business meetings with is the same people that Adam Silver Slipper has business meetings with, bro. Like they all hang out at the same places, they all
bro.
dine at the same places. All of this, you don't need a formal conspiracy, bro. That you don't need it.
Bro,
You don't.
Leaf, I'm gonna tell you this, man.
How
Some of
about
the
that?
youngest teams in NFL history went on to win Super Bowl. The Legion of Boom was a very, very young team. The
Hmm.
average age was 25 years old. The
Right.
first Cowboys, the Cowboys dynasty in the 90s, they were a very, very young team. The
Right.
average age of that team was 22 years old, and they were the lowest paid team in NFL history. The 92 Cowboys was one of the lowest paid teams in the modern era of NFL history. So my thing is this. Look, I love football. But let's not get it twisted. Have all of these. Let's not have all of these theories. Let's not. I'm trying to say this in a term. Let's not have all of these theories when our team loses. I mean, when we lose, we lose. I mean, until your point, people don't bring up the fact that y'all owned the Niners in the 90s. They only beat y'all one time, and that was the 98 game with Steve Young when he tossed it.
Exactly.
That's not a conspiracy theory. That is a fact because Brett Favre was at his peak during that time. This is a very, very young team. They will have their chance. And if you really want to be honest with you, a lot of people was picking this team to rebuild. They caught fire. So I'm gonna just be real. People want to talk about scripts and stuff like this. You can't script a game. Now, are there bad calls in games that will make you think that? Yes, but you cannot script certain things in a game. You cannot script certain mistakes. You can't script the fumble. You can't script all of that. So all of these conspiracy theories when our team loses, it's blasphemous. It's blasphemous. It's crazy because would we be crying wolf if our team wins? No, it's quite ironic when everybody's team lose. They want to blame the ref. They want to blame the NFL. They want to blame
Injuries.
everybody else. But when our team wins, we don't complain. So let's not bring that type of energy on platforms and set bad precedent because that's exactly what that is.
I'm not gonna
You
lie.
know what? You're right, bro. Like, but I'm gonna just keep it to myself then because I already know what happened, man. And ain't nobody telling me
I'm
different,
not
man,
gonna lie, Leave. I feel like
at
that should
all.
have been Leave. That should be that's a W season for you. I just don't know why you just like complaining to Roger
Given the
Goodell.
circumstances in which the Packers had to deal with injuries and everything else,
Yeah.
perhaps it's a testament to how good the organization is. Perhaps it's also a testament to Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur, say what the people want. He's a good enough head coach. He's a quality head coach in the NFL. I just think for the Packers, opportunities that they miss. The missed field goal, Jordan Love with the interceptions. Eventually, that was going to cost them. I think as they grow and they mature, they will get better. And I believe in the playoffs, they will become better. And I believe the best is yet to come with Jordan Love. And they've got this young squad with Dobbs and Hicks, Christian Watson, assuming if he can stay healthy, champ, because Christian Watson, man, he can fly. And with with Jones and Dillon running the football, and with the defense, as long as you add a couple more pieces on the defense, Leaf, you got a bright future in the NFC. And Detroit, even though we can talk about how great they are this season, and they've been great this season, let's not discount Green Bay.
Right.
So we
Right.
got we got Green Bay has a bright future, but I got to give credit to the 49ers, even though I am concerned with how they played, and especially with the Debo Samuel injury. We don't. I mean, is he going to play in the NFC
I
Championship? I
think he's
believe he
out. I
will.
think he's
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. No, no. They
They got
concussion.
him
Yeah,
listed.
yeah. They cleared him.
Right.
They
So
cleared
this
him.
is going to be a huge statement game for the 49ers against Detroit because if they fail, oh my God, Kyle Shanahan is going to be in a lot of criticism. But we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about Aiden's team, the Baltimore Ravens. They beat down the Houston Texans, man. Aiden, you are a Ravens fan, and I'm gonna see if I can try to get Trey on the show because he is also a Ravens fan as well. What's your thoughts on the game?
Uh, I honestly thought that our team was good this game. Our team was really good, but the only bad thing I have to say about them is that in the first half they were lackluster. They did not do much in the first half. They didn't do anything in the first half. And we all know that. All of us watched it. All of us seen it. I seen it. That defense was not playing the way it usually does. And neither was that offense. It was just field goals left and right. You're getting into the 40, 30-yard line all around everywhere mostly. Then, and as we heard from Lamar in his press conference, he told that locker room what they needed to hear. He told, because of course he said inappropriate words. He told that locker room what they needed to hear, and in the second half they came out firing, and the Texans just couldn't take it. Our offense finally did something good, kept driving down the field, scoring touchdowns, and that defense put a lot of pressure on the Texans. I think they did great, and if they do that against the Chiefs the whole entire game and keep putting pressure on them, they're probably gonna win. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right. We got Trey in the building. Diehard Baltimore Ravens fan as well as Aiden. How you doing, bro?
I'm great.
What's your thoughts on the Texans Ravens game?
Well, Texas Ravens game, I knew that we were going to win that game. The atmosphere was right. The place was rocking. It was cold as hell, but I just knew we were going to win that game. I was like, bro, we can't lose this. Not this one. Not to them. Hell no. Them boy, they tried everything they could to win the game. And Lamar just said, hell no, not today.
All right. And Lamar Jackson balled in that game. He had 2 touchdowns on the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground. First time he will enter the AFC Championship game. Baltimore has the number 1 seed, and of course, Lamar Jackson gonna win league MVP for the second time in his career.
Hopefully.
No, not hopefully. He's gonna win it, Luis. No, not hopefully. He's gonna win it. But anyway, Luis, I'm gonna let you go. What's your thoughts on the Texans Ravens game?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still baffled over that Vince McMahon news. Again, Leaf, I apologize for interrupting you. That was rude of me. But
Oh, trust me, I already know all about
But
that.
I want to touch more on Aiden's point about bringing pressure because I think a key factor we're leaving out is Joe Tooney's ruled out, and that's very big. Joe Tooney is ruled out, which means Kansas City got a gap they got to fill in. Otherwise, Aiden's right. That pressure is going to be very, very, very bad for Kansas City. It's going to be very bad. That's the only thing I really wanted to touch up on because I think everybody's gonna pretty much say the same thing, like pressure Mahomes and Lamar got to do Lamar things. But I think that's gonna be the big story is if Kansas City can fill up that gap they got in the O line right now. Losing Joe Tooney, he's an All Pro. He's an All Pro this year.
Yeah, and we all seen what happened the last time he lost 2 of his starting tackles right before the Super Bowl.
Tampa Bay just completely. It wasn't only. It was the whole line was messed up. They didn't have a starting lineman that Super Bowl, but Baltimore is that team where you can't have any weaknesses on that O line. You got that O line got to play perfect because one little mistake. That's all Baltimore's momentum. That's all they need. Just one mistake. I think people got to realize this quietly. This has been historically one of the best defenses we've seen in the NFL. And nobody's really talking about it because the whole story is Lamar. Lamar putting the whole offense on his back, leading the way. But nobody's talking about how historic on a pace that this defense is playing. This defense is being historic right now. And if this defense wins the Super Bowl, it'll go down as one of the best defenses we've ever seen. And that's like, and if we look strictly at the numbers, that's a fact. So with this Baltimore team, you can't have any weaknesses on that O-line. And losing Joe Tooney is huge. Like I said, that man's an All-Pro this year. So that's a big gap that I bet John Harbaugh is like licking his chops, and he's ready. He's ready. He's game planning on that one specific spot. And it's going to be a long night if Kansas City if they don't act fast.
And everything that Luis is saying is true because if you look at Pro Football Reference, from what I'm looking right now, Baltimore's defense is number one in team and scoring defense. Also, they're sixth in passing defense as well. So, Leaf, what were your thoughts on the Texans versus Ravens game?
I thought the Texans, D'Amico Ryans do everything but the kitchen sink. Um, he probably should have do the bathtub and everything else, man, because Lamar Jackson was just looking like a man on a mission. He is looking like he has absolutely figured it out. This is like the best version of Lamar Jackson I think that we've seen and that we probably going to see for the foreseeable future. His arm and his quarterback awareness and everything about his awareness in the game of football has caught up to his athletic ability. The second half, it was just only a matter of time before they blew that game open. Like I thought, Lamar's the only guy left that could literally defeat all of these nuances in the league. I'm a little bit mad that the Ravens game was on earlier, but I kind of know why. I mean, it seemed like the media is ready to is just kind of waiting for him to fail. Being that the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be playing them this week, but we're going to get into that. But in terms of the game, I thought D'Amico Ryans did everything, and he sent everything. He switched up everything. He sent blitzes. It was nothing that he didn't do. They tried their hardest to win that game. They just couldn't do it, man. Lamar's listen, he is him in every sense of the word. Oh, by the way, just a side note, y'all. Luca has put up 70 tonight in a win, and Devin Booker put up 62 in a loss.
Damn.
Yep.
Luca
What are
put
they
up 60.
putting in that NBA Gatorade this season?
I don't know, man. Like this is getting a little bit out of hand. This is the second
These
time this
dudes need to
week.
be drug tested.
This
You
is the
talking
second
about
70
This,
they
this,
need to
this,
assisted
be
game we've
drug
had.
yeah,
tested
yeah.
immediately.
This is the second time this week. This is the second time this week that two players have scored exactly 70 and exactly
Well,
62.
well,
Embiid
I
and Luka?
well I expected from Booger because Booger's done that before.
Right,
But
right. Devin
Luka
Booker
ain't
did
never
that in
done
his
that.
second year. When he was basically stat chasing and
Y'all do
probably
realize what the day is, right?
today is the
Kobe
anniversary of
anniversary,
Kobe's
right?
Kobe and Gianna's
Okay, there
marriage.
you go.
There you go.
So we calling
Yeah,
so
so
we
there we go. And who was Devin Booker's mentor?
Kobe.
Right.
Kobe.
Okay, there we go. Continue.
I mean, why do you explain Luca's 70? But I mean, I don't know how to explain that. But to get back on the game, I thought D'Amico Ryans, man, he did everything that he could in that game. Other than our team, and a lot of people touched on our team, touching on the Texans, man. Listen, what a turnaround. Well, we knew that this was going to happen. All they really needed was a quarterback, realistically. But D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC very, very soon, if not sooner. So if these top quarterbacks in the in the AFC, excuse me, Lamar is definitely on the clock, man. I think he should win it this year. Josh Allen, Lord pray for him.
We'll talk
Herbert,
about him later. We'll talk
yeah,
about him
and
later.
all of these other quarterbacks in the AFC, man. Listen, they got a lot to prove. Uh, I really wanted to speak to a specific quarterback from the Jacksonville Jaguars, bruh. Your time is now, cause C.J. Stroud ain't running. And he right in your division and he right in your backyard.
You
What the
got
hell you gonna
AR
do?
coming next year. He ain't
And then
waiting.
then you got AR coming next year, and then you got a whole another list of quarterbacks.
Yes,
So
AFC
my
style
so
is
to
gonna be a major issue.
yeah
Um,
to Mr. Lawrence from the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's time, bro. It's his time.
All right, Harrison.
That
What were
dang
you?
that dang picture, bro. I keep thinking that sports talk, bro. This man. Oh my god,
Sorry, I was just
bro. He's laying back, and you can't see his face, so it's just sports talk's big ass head.
What were your thoughts on the Texans Ravens game, Harrison?
good game in the first half, and it's just fucking boring in the second half. No comments.
Champ?
The Baltimore Ravens have beaten every single Pro Bowl quarterback that they have faced by an average of 14 points.
Mm.
That's just for this season.
Yes.
Yes.
So let me go over some stats for you. Let me go to it. I will be brief. My bad, PSP. I should have had this ready. I apologize.
It's all good.
So, hey, when they faced CJ Stroud earlier in the season, they beat him by 4. They beat him by 16 points, 25-9. They held him to 9 points, by the way. When they faced Jared Goff the first time, 38-6, held him to 2 field goals. When they faced the Bengals the second time, they beat them by 14. When they faced the Chargers, they held them. When they faced the Chargers, they beat them by 10. They held them to 10. The only Pro Bowl quarterback that when they faced the Miami Dolphins, sorry, Louise, they beat them 56-19.
God
And
damn.
let's not mention when they faced San Fran, they beat them 33-19. And as we all know, that the score was a little bit inflated because of garbage yards. The only quarterback that was formidable against them was the Los Angeles Rams in Matthew Stafford. So every quarterback they have faced this year, with the exception of Matthew Stafford, every Pro Bowl quarterback that they have faced, they have beat him by the average of 14 points. But I digress. So, hey, and they beat CJ Stroud by a bunch of points just this past week.
Mhm.
So, look, oh, my bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, I must say, this is arguably one of the most impressive defenses that we would like to see, because people don't want to acknowledge this. They have the potential on paper, I will say, to be better than 2000, because they did not play, the 2000 Ravens did not play. Wait a minute, before you start looking at me crazy. Go back and do your research.
They did not play this type of schedule.
They did not play this type of schedule, and they did not play one single Pro Bowl quarterback all season. They didn't play any Pro Bowl quarterbacks until they got to the playoffs. And Achilles Smith was in their division.
You know what's also
Is
insane
Leaf
about this?
asleep or something?
Time out.
Leaf's
Time
time.
out.
But you know what's crazy about
So
this
we told
Baltimore
him
team?
his ass up.
What's crazy about this Baltimore team is, like, they're scary in all 3 phases of the game.
Yeah, they're all 3 phases.
All offense is scary. Defense is scary. Especially, you mentioned the Rams. How did they win that game?
They
punt
went
return.
overtime.
Punt return.
Yeah.
They're scary all around. This team is insane.
So
Hey,
that's the whole thing.
to piggyback off what you just said, what happened in the second half for the Houston Texas game? What happened?
They ran away with it. But like I said, they did not play.
No. Go ahead. Let the champ you finish. Go ahead, because I want to say something right after this.
That team did not play a Pro Bowl quarterback until the playoffs. So we have to take that into consideration as well. And during the course of the season, the Baltimore Ravens beat nearly every single AFC and NFC quarterback that made the Pro Bowl and All Pro. So if you want to equip that to the schedule that the Baltimore Ravens of the 2000s played, you can pretty much say on paper, I will say that they were pretty much have them edged out just a little bit. So,
I see it.
Like I said, they played no Pro Bowl quarter. 2000 Ravens played no Pro Bowl quarterbacks all season, none. They played no Pro Bowl quarterbacks all season. You got to think about who was in their division as well. Spurgeon Wynn was the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Achilles Smith was the starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. And for Pittsburgh, they didn't have a solid quarterback that year. Cordell Stewart was their quarterback. He was a Pro Bowler, but he was not necessarily a world beater. So they literally played no Pro Bowl quarterbacks or all pros all season long during that 2000 team.
So just to make sure I'm keeping, are you saying this Ravens team compared to 2000 has played much better competition in terms of strength of schedule?
Yes, that's all I'm saying. They have played better competition because, like I said, the Baltimore Ravens of the 2000s did not play with not one Pro Bowl quarterback the entire season until they got to the playoffs. Now, granted, when they got to the playoff and faced 2 future MVPs and Steve McNair and Rich Gannon, they showed out. I will give them that. But as far as season is concerned, they did not play not one Pro Bowl quarterback that entire year. Plus, their division was not as stacked as it was this year.
Hey, champ, real quick, bro. You listen, you a big football historian, bro. Could you give me the top 5 quarterbacks of that 2000 year?
The top 5 quarterbacks of that 2000 year, well,
Yeah,
they
just
played
like
two of them.
McNair and who else?
They played McNair in the divisional round of the
Uh-huh.
playoffs. Then they played Rich
Didn't
Gannon.
they play McNair in the regular season?
Yeah, they played him in the regular season.
And what happened in that game?
Oh, they won. They won.
Okay.
They were the first team to beat them at home. But like
Okay.
I said, during that time, they did not face a Pro Bowler that entire year until they got to that playoffs.
Okay, but I mean, me and you both know that was a different league and a different time, though. Like, I mean, like obviously the quarterback talent today is leaps and bounds miles better than.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, as opposed to how many it was, man. Like, because if we think about Lamar, Allen, C.J. Stroud, just to name a few names, and I didn't get to all the names. I didn't even get to Mahomes. Who they about to play. I didn't even get to whatchamacallit, Matt Stafford. You could like it's a bunch of quarterbacks that are considered like top quarterbacks that could be top quarterbacks at any given time in today's game, as opposed to it was back in 2000. We gotta at least agree on that. Like if we
Yeah,
go back to
but
that year, like we got Steve McNair, Peyton Manning wasn't setting the world on fire.
he went
Um,
6 and he was 6 and he went 10-6 that year, and he threw 33 touchdowns to 15 interceptions, and he threw for 4,400 yards. So did Jeff Garcia, Elvis Gerback, Dante Culpepper, and Brett Favre. So and then Drew Bledsoe and Drew Bledsoe was in that league as well, and he
right,
was a
right.
Pro Bowler.
Drew
And the
Bledsoe too.
only
Yeah.
and like I said, and then you have to think about Kurt Warner was still, and that was the beginning of the
And
greatest show as
that's
well.
and I was gonna get to that. That's who we wanted. That we wanted those guys. We wanted them guys because in '99 we played them in '99. They beat us up there in St. Louis. So we thought, okay, we gonna play these guys and we gonna show the whole world these guys really ain't hitting on nothing.
I mean, well, in terms of defense to defense, bro, that 2000 defense was literally carrying them
Yeah,
across the finish line, bro. Like they went 5 weeks without an offensive touchdown. I mean,
yeah,
like this in terms of team to team, that like the team to team and offense and defense, they don't even compare. They don't
yeah.
even
But
compare.
the
We're not
thing
even
is
gonna do that.
this:
So
you have to think about this as well. You have to think about this as well. Also, on every single level of that team, you also had an All Pro this year. You had an All Pro on the defensive tackle with Justin Metabupe. You had All Pro, both All Pro defensive, both All Pro defensive backs, along with Hamilton, because Stone was hella and Humphreys was hella. Not to mention Hamilton. So also you got to take into consideration Queen and Roquan Smith. Now the only method of that defense where that 2000 team have them beat across the board, I'll say at Hamilton's position, because I don't think he's better than Rod Woodson, and at Raekwon Smith level because I don't think he's better than Ray Lewis. So
what about Pete? What about Peter Boa?
I will say that as well. But as far as statistically, that's how come I keep saying on paper. That's what we're missing here. On paper. Not saying that
So
they are
all
better
right,
than them on paper.
all right, so granted, this team right here wins the Super Bowl, then we could finally do the comparison, I guess, so to
Yes, we
speak.
could do the
Yeah,
comparison then.
no,
But like I
that's what I'm
said,
saying. On paper, like
on
on paper, if
paper,
we're just
this
going
They
was
by
have
the
a
better
numbers,
team.
legitimate
if
chance
we're
on
just going
paper.
by numbers, this is one of the most historic
Yeah,
defenses we've ever
by the
seen.
numbers on paper, this is the better Baltimore
And,
Ravens team. This is
and
arguably
I
one of the
know,
Oh yeah,
greatest
yeah,
ones.
the better team, yes. Like
and to piggyback off
the
of
better
what
defense.
Champ said,
Listen,
as far as defense, I know it's a lot of Ravens fans, and it's only a few. I don't. I've never. I've seen this I heard somebody say this. They think the 2006 defense is better than the 2000 defense.
Yeah, they had all four linebackers made the All Pro. All four of
That's
them. I mean, so and then you got to think about it. This if the 2000 Ravens played against this team right here, who you think winning?
the 2000 Ravens played
They
against this
couldn't
team.
generate any offense. How could
The
they?
rules, the rules,
Well. That
the
was a
rules
different
are totally
NFL.
different.
Like,
That's what
come
I'm
on, man.
saying.
Like,
The
that's not.
rules are
That's not.
totally different.
The
That's
rules
why.
are totally different. Come on, man. That we can't do that. Like, I
A
think
lot,
the
like I
only thing.
said, a lot you couldn't generate any offense on this side, on that side of the ball. They went, like I said, you
Were
said
they
it yourself.
31st on
Although,
offense before going to the playoffs?
huh?
Was that Baltimore team like 31st? They were like pretty last in offense, right?
They was almost dead last in offense. The guy literally sat on top of a tower until the team
He top
scored.
sat on top of the roof of the a
Of a
store
sports
Because
bar until they scored.
until they scored. Until the
Brian,
sports
and this is what I know what Brian Billick was trying to do, but he was trying to do it with the wrong quarterback.
And that's another X factor. I don't see Brian Billick, if they were to have played hypotheticals, he couldn't have outcoached John Harbaugh.
The only thing that Baltimore had offensively their 2000 was Jamal Lewis.
Jamal Lewis.
That was when he carried much of the and Shannon
Jamal
Sharp.
Lewis.
You want to talk about game managers?
You had Trent
I
Dilfer
ain't
at
gonna lie.
that
Trent
point.
Dilfer
was the biggest game manager ever because it
Like,
was
I'm
like.
But
he
at
might
the
have
same
been. He
time,
might
you
have been
weren't
lower
getting
than the
much
game
off.
manager that year.
But Leaf,
I
you
ain't gonna
weren't
lie
getting
to you.
much offense from Trent Dilfer and the rest of the Baltimore Ravens, other than
I mean, they
big play
defense was
Shea.
doing all the damn scoring, bro. Like, I mean,
But it wasn't just the defense. But I'm talking about offensively, Leaf. The only playmakers they had were Jamal Lewis and Shannon Sharp. They didn't call him Big Play Shea for a reason. They called him that they called him that. But back to the Texans Ravens game. It piggybacks to what Champ said. What the hell were the Chicago Bears thinking by trading Roquan Smith?
Like I
What were they
said
thinking?
earlier.
Because I'm sorry, Champ. I'll let you go on this one.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Chicago, they traded him to Baltimore for 2023 draft picks, a third round pick in 2024, and a fifth round pick in 2025. And you look, and that's Chicago. That should tell you all you need to know about how incompetent that organization is, even though Leaf is happy about that. But hold on, Trey. Let me say something. When you look at Baltimore, Lamar Jackson couldn't lose this one. He lost this one. If he did not play well or lost this one, imagine the amount of criticism that he would get. But fortunately, that was not the case. Thank God that we are able to see Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. Another great matchup for Mahomes. As for Houston, I get to Leaf's point. What a turnaround. You went from the second worst team in the NFL last season. You finally found the quarterback you have for the next 15, 16 years in CJ Stroud. Look, imagine how they're going to be once they improve their defense. DeMeco Ryans is a defensive-minded guy. Before he took the head coaching job for the Houston Texans, he was the former defensive coordinator for the 49ers, and he played defense for the Texans. So I believe over time, the defense will improve. And offensively, once they get Tank Dell back from injury and once they improve their weapons, I think Houston is going to be the team. And to Leaf's point, man, we got to start. Trevor Lawrence, I'm not even sure if he's going to be the second best quarterback. He might be third.
In that division?
Yes.
Might be fourth.
Because right now, if you
in that division?
No, I wouldn't go that far, Trey, because again, we don't know about Will Levis.
Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud.
Trey, at best he'd be third because Anthony Richardson is coming back from an injury. CJ is at the top of that division. Trevor Lawrence at best case is third, unless he doesn't turn it around. But that's a story for another day. So let's move on to the other game. on Sunday. Tough one for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost to the Detroit Lions. Baker Mayfield threw an ill-advised interception late in the game. Mike Evans, boy, he was cooking. He had some drops, but boy, he was cooking, reminding folks that he's still one of the baddest receivers in the NFL. And by the way, Kansas City or any other team, you may want to look for him during free agency. As for the Detroit Lions, I give a lot of credit to Dan Campbell, especially to turn around this season. Leaf, I'm gonna let you go first. What's your thoughts on the Bucks Lions game?
I thought that game said what the Rams game said about the Lions secondary. That shit need work. They need to do something because this is the second week in a row that they got cooked. That secondary basically got smoked, man. Like as you said, Mike Evans was cooking. They had a rookie cooking them in the Rams game, and now they about to go up against. About to go to San Francisco,
Puka
and
Nacua.
yeah, Puka Nacua, and then now they about to go to San Francisco. And my thing with the Lions is, listen, this is a feel good story. I understand what it is, and I understand what it means to all the Detroit Lions faithful if they even win the NFC and get to a Super Bowl. But they need to listen. And that particular game, man. I mean, yeah, man. It basically came down to which game manager was going to make the mistake first. It happened to be Baker Mayfield. I don't trust anything that rhymes with Laker or anyone that rhymes with Laker, man. I've been telling people for weeks. A bad game was coming. You decided that you wanted to hold up the OU helmet week after week
And
and
I'm
try
still
to.
gonna keep on holding on to the OU helmet.
Yeah, I understand that, but like
I
that's
can't
gonna
wait for
be
mine.
that that's
So
Where's the helmet?
that's
I forgot what it looked like.
yeah that's gonna be on hold for a while. The point is the Lions squeezed out of another game as they did against the Rams.
Yeah.
That's
You
because
know
you
you
said.
Helmet makes a return.
you know I
That's
understand
because
why.
you said that. Just because you said
Yeah.
that.
You wanted to do that for that particular reason. I understand that, but
I'm a
listen, the bottom.
diehard OU fan, Leaf. At least give me credit for consistency.
I mean,
Yeah,
OU's
yes, but great consistency, and
doing good in basketball.
college is the place to be, man. If you want to believe in something, but at the same token, Baker proved what I already knew. It came down to the game manager that was going to make the mistakes first, and that's exactly what happened in this game.
All right. Harrison.
Baker, Baker midfield. Thank God
Sir, what
we
the hell?
have what?
What'd you say?
Baker midfield
Why y'all
Thank,
hating on
thank you, Lee. Thank you,
the
thank you.
real comeback player of the year? Why y'all
mid.
hating on him?
All I'm gonna say is, thank God we have the Bucks offensive coordinator Dave Canales that he is going to fucking struggle next year. Bring in Mike Evans to Carolina. We're already talking to his wide
I don't
receiving coach.
understand why you want an aging receiver over T. Higgins.
You can't.
We're already talking about
Yeah,
the wide
and
receiving coach.
Harrison,
Bring
and
in Mike
Harris,
Evans. There's something I'd
and,
like to do. I'll bring in Mike
and
Evans.
I'm
there,
not gonna lie. Listen. Looking
I'm
over T
glad you.
Higgins, bro. That might be a loss for you, Harrison. I don't know.
I'm glad you
Listen,
feel
T.
this way
Higgins, Mike
because
Evans, bring them here because
But you might as well send T. Higgins to Atlanta if you passing up on him at this point.
Oh
listen,
man.
give me Mike Evans, give me T. Higgins. I don't care.
Champ, and I wanted to speak on
Let's
that as
go.
well.
Let's go. I'm ready. Bring in Mike Evans.
Hey, Leaf, would
well,
you? Hey, Leaf,
hold
would you
on.
tell me a
You
couple
talking
weeks
about
ago when
bringing
I was
all
talking
these?
about? Hold on, Trey. Leaf, would you tell me a couple weeks ago when I was talking about Carolina? You said they need God, they need Jesus, they need dignity. That's it.
Wait, wait,
I
wait
don't
a
know
minute.
about
Wait a
I don't
minute.
know if I said
Harrison.
all of that,
Harrison.
but I mean
Harrison.
they need.
No, I remember what I said.
Harrison, since you
I
have a
remember
They,
what
nickname
I
for
said.
Baker Mayfield, you called him
Carolina
Baker
can trade their
Midfield, right?
dignity and all that. You said they don't
You
give a
called him
about
Baker
that, bro.
Midfield,
Oh
Harrison?
God.
called them Cake or Trashville. That's what I called them.
What about Bryce Young? Is he Bryce Dunn?
No,
No.
Okay.
No.
He's not. He's just in an
Only
unfair
thing I'm gonna say
situation.
is
Carolina,
Harrison,
they
you
But
talking
the
need
about
Panthers team is trash.
Carolina.
all I'm gonna say
Carolina
If
needs
your
to
best
is
Wait,
if your best
Aiden,
weapon
Baker's
is Adam
trash.
Thielen, bro, like come on, you're not
Wait,
going
I didn't
Aiden
say
nowhere.
Baker.
that.
Wait,
your run game is
Aiden
Miles
Baker's
Their
Sanders.
trash.
best weapon is nobody.
your
Adam Thielen
running
was nice
game
the
is.
second half of the year,
I'm
but
gonna basically say it like this. You talk about Brady and all these weapons. Yeah, you can't throw passes when you're on your back.
That Champ has been saying that.
They need an old line for
listen,
sure.
we're saying Adam Thielen, he did put over 1,000 yards, but Harrison, my boy, like, bro,
Man, my man's
the
out there
amount of catches
struggling.
he
He
had to
was
do
like,
to get that 1,000 yards is crazy. Bro,
I'm
That
like,
But
that
damn.
listen, but listen.
I'm looking at Alex Taylor like,
103
damn, he done lost a
1,000
step.
yards. Ridiculous.
My
listen.
man's out there. My man was out there gliding, just gliding to not even
Hey,
running, just
hey,
gliding to the end zone.
hey, just for the record, bro, champ, I did have the Atlanta Falcons to win the division, and not only win the division, but to host the NFC Championship game. That aged very well, by the way.
They
But
smell like expired milk.
yes, it definitely did. But shout out to the possible new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Radio Raheem Morris. Um,
We're
I
gonna talk about that in later on. Leaf. Don't worry about
Okay,
that. We're gonna talk
can I
about
ask-
coaches.
Hold on, can I ask
I
you guys?
know.
Go ahead, Harrison.
By the way, PSP, I'm joking because I already gave Baker Mayfield his flowers this season.
I told you, I don't want flowers and
I'm not
chocolate.
giving him
God,
I
fuck
want
the other.
Toronto. I want champagne. I want Hennessy. I want money. I want it all. I want Gucci. I want Prada. I want it
You want
all.
Prime?
Balenciaga, man. Let him know, man.
I'm
You
not
want
giving his
Prime? You
ass
want a
nothing,
wine
bro, because
bottle?
I
Okay,
already know what he is.
Yeah, I
How-
want wine bottle. I want fettuccine Alfredo. I want all that
you
good
want
stuff.
shrimp Alfredo?
You
Or...
getting a bag
Yes.
of Doritos?
Okay.
Wait, what kind of
Step
Doritos?
aside-
Hold
let's
on,
just step
that's an
aside from
important
that.
question.
Nacho cheese.
Step aside from that shit.
You getting the guacamole,
How-
bro? That's
How would you guys feel about Dave Canales coming to Carolina?
Yo, look at Louis' face.
Do you
That's a
think
good.
that-
That's
do
a
you
good
think-
decision for you.
Hold on,
Harrison.
I'm not done yet. Do you think it could be an improved season? Let's just say 7 to 6 wins, or do you think it's going to be still like the same wins like last year, 2 wins?
I don't think you guys get
5 to
7
6.
I think that's
5 to
No,
6. I said
4
7
to
to
5.
6.
4 to 5. I'll be nice. 4 to 5 wins.
Damn, that's really generous.
I'm only saying that because like I don't want to compare Miami and Carolina, but Miami when Mike McDaniel came and revamped everything, it was pretty much a 1-season fix. You guys are like
We're still in year 1. We're still
kinda-
in
Y'all are behind the eight ball.
you guys need like 3 to 4 years under him to really
we're still
like
in year
ju-
1.
like
Hey,
It's
Har-
still pathetic.
Harrison, give yourself some time. Unfortunately for you, we don't have to
pretty
remind
bad.
you who your owner is. We won't get into there.
Oh, the rich bastard.
Bro. Come on, man.
all of our owners are POSs. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I
Almost.
don't have
Atlanta's
a, I
owner's
don't have
really
an
good.
owner,
I
bro.
mean, my
My
owner
alright,
don't. My
alright,
owner don't
alright.
be.
POSs.
All
Nah,
right,
my
all
owner
right,
be
all right,
a dog. He don't-
guys,
We gotta go.
guys. Come on, we got to get back to
Let's get
the
it.
Bucks Lions game. But Trey,
I
your
don't have
thoughts
an
on
owner.
the Bucks Lions game?
Man, like I said, everybody keep on hollering, "Oh, San Fran's gonna lose to Detroit." Man, please, after that game, man, San Fran gonna wipe the floor with them.
Wasn't San Fran supposed to wipe the floor with us?
You see, Trey, I don't know because Matt.
Well, they
LaFleur-
have something. They have something you don't on defense. It's called a back end.
They don't have a good sec. But the thing is though is Matt LaFleur wrote the blueprint on how to make San Francisco look vulnerable. This is since the Baltimore game. This is the most vulnerable San Francisco has looked.
Well, I would
So
say
Dave Campbell follows that
I would
blueprint. It's
second.
gonna
I
be a
would
long
second
night.
that. I would second that. I would say we
Trey,
wrote.
they didn't dominate at all.
I would
They
say,
didn't.
no, but
Brock
I'm gonna
Purdy
say
looked
this.
pedestrian at best.
I'm
though. That's
gonna
my favorite.
basically say it like this. I will second that. I say we wrote the blueprint on how to stop the 49ers. Because ever since they played us, everybody has been looking like, oh, is that easy?
I wouldn't give
say
y'all
that
that
you
much
guys are
credit,
just
bro. Like
historically-
y'all Y'all was
But
beating the
but
hell
we
out of
we
everybody
saw
before the
other
49ers,
examples of the
bro. Let's
49ers
not do
losing,
that.
Trey. We saw the Bengals, we saw the Vikings, we saw the Browns
The
game.
Cleveland Browns like manhandled them first, and then the Vikings took care of them with just
But
average
hold on.
alone.
I'm glad I knew y'all was gonna bring that up, but you know what everybody else was saying? Oh, Trent Williams and Debo was out. That's why they lost.
No.
We actually had them when they was at full strength, where they had Debo and Trent Williams on the field at the
Just
same
give me,
time.
just give me my
That's
Kevin Steele.
that's a lie because the Browns they had to make when Trent Williams tried to bully the Browns defense the Browns linemen and whatever before pregame, and then that didn't go well for Trent. So basically, bro, like that defense manhandled them right up front and punched them in the mouth while they was on one of the greatest hot streaks to start the season, bro. And they basically slowed them down and started off like a 3 or 4 game losing streak. So the reason why Debo and whatchamacallit was out in the first place is because the Browns put him out. This is football, bro. Like you don't just get hurt just randomly, bro. Like you listen, every play is a contact play.
And early on, the Browns at that point on defense, they were playing exceptionally well. And then when we saw the 49ers against the Vikings on Monday Night Football, Kirk Cousins, before the Achilles injury, I don't know if anyone has forgotten, Kirk Cousins was actually playing really damn good football, champ. Like,
Yeah,
had
they
it
was.
not been for the go ahead, champ.
Oh, my bad. You were saying I was just agreeing with you, bro.
No, I mean, Kirk Cousins before the Achilles injury was playing and had they won enough games, would have been a discussion for the MVP. And by the way, if you're Atlanta, although I am concerned he is coming off the Achilles injury, it wouldn't hurt to give you a shot with Kirk Cousins.
I
But
want him.
again, only the no,
All right, champ.
you got to stuck with
Let's
Tua.
peel this band-aid
Why
off
can't
right
I
quick.
get it? Why does
Who you want?
Atlanta? Why can Atlanta
Yeah.
get him, but we can't?
Nah.
You have
Hold
Tua.
up, champ.
Stick with him.
Hold up, champ, bro. Like, cause y'all team been in the y'all team has made probably the most noise and then even before the offseason started, man, with the whatchamacallit news, the possible Belichick news, and then he's out, and then now Raheem is up for grabs. Congratulations to Raheem on possibly getting that job. And but who you want at quarterback,
Yeah.
who you want at quarterback, champ?
We'll get to that at a later time. Let's discuss this Tampa Bay game first, if you don't mind. Let's stay on track.
Don't worry, we will talk about that.
Oh, by the way, PSP,
We'll
I got to
get to that.
tell you something, bro.
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead, Harrison.
Congratulations on Ben Johnson. I think like you guys are gonna have a future ahead of you.
What are you talking about? They hired him?
No, I just think that you guys are gonna get Ben Johnson.
If that happens, look, I feel like you're trying to jinx me, but if that happens, I'd be happy. All I know for a fact, I do not want Belichick. I told y'all I do not want Belichick as my
Just
head
get
coach.
Ben Johnson. You guys have a future. You got the GM.
Oh yeah, Adam Peters from the 49ers,
Get Ben
and I think
Johnson and
bro, that's like milk and cookies. I mean, that's a good duo.
That's good, but like I said, we moved on from
Great.
Daniel Snyder. We're in a new era now with Josh Harris and Magic Johnson. Champ has been telling me, PSP, just give it some time. Music, I mean, the one good thing is going to take time for DC to develop, but the Commanders, the days of them being a joke, a clown show of a franchise, it's going to be gone eventually. But again,
and to top it off, that division is starting to crumble. Like all of them teams, Dallas, Philly. I don't know what Philly is doing after this year. The Giants are. They're going to have to turn it around quickly.
They'll be better in 2024. I have them winning the division because, like I said, history. When is it that a team in that division won it back-to-back years? Dak is going to struggle. And by the way, if you're Jerry Jones, and we'll have this discussion for another day, you're gonna have to pay Dak $60 million. You want to do that? And plus, Dak's about to be a free agent in 2025.
Michael Parsons got to get paid too.
Not just Michael Parsons, CD too.
Tyrone Smith, the left tackle, he's still in free agent.
Sound like a lot of money that's going to be not
I feel like
spent.
the Commanders are going to be fine. I feel like the Commanders are going to be fine.
Sound like a bunch of money is not going to be spent. That's what
I think the Commanders are going to be fine once they build up that O line, and I think they have a very solid running backs. I think Antonio
Brian
Gibson,
Robinson. Hey, Champ has been saying it all along about Brian Robinson. But I think they're going to draft a quarterback, particularly, I don't know who it is, whether Drake May or Jaden Daniels from LSU.
Man, Jaden Daniels fits so good in so many offenses. That's gonna be a
I think Atlanta.
But anyway, champ. Oh, I'm
Bo
sorry,
Nix.
Aiden.
Bo Nix. Nah, let me stop.
Aiden, what were your thoughts on the Bucks Lions game?
I didn't really watch this game that much either. Uh, so I don't really have any comments about it.
All right, champ.
Mm,
One thing that
mm,
the Detroit Lions did very, very well is attack the middle of that field. They attacked the middle of the field. And they did that great with Sam Laporta. I'm not so certain if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
No, you good.
Amon Ross St. Brown. They attacked the middle of the field and did that to perfection. That is why I'm saying, be on your toes next week for the 49er faithful. One other thing you got to watch, one other thing they did very, very well is run that two-headed monster at the running back position. That was done and orchestrated perfectly. Hey, and on the other hand, that offense got off to a very, very fast-paced start. Baker had a decent game. Hey, comeback player of the year. Had a great year, bounce back year. One of only 6 quarterbacks in order to take 2 separate teams to the playoffs and win a playoff game. Let's give credit where
and
credit is
one
due.
ain't won, and one ain't won a playoff game in like 30 years.
And yes, to your point, that is absolutely correct. So I will say this, man. It's going to be interesting to see what he does next year when they revamp that franchise. Looking forward to seeing him succeed once again, especially with some of the coaching that he may have. I think he's in good hands with Todd Bowles down there, and they're going to have a pretty good team next year. Now, as far as the Lions are concerned, hey, keep this formula going because people don't want to talk about this. People keep talking about how weak the Detroit Lions are on the back end. Think about how weak the 49ers have shown they were against the Green Bay Packers. We have to look at every single morsel of the game. We have to look at it like a meal. We can't leave anything out because it's convenient. So we have to look at every single morsel of it. So looking at that game, hey, I would say on paper, and I do love that phrase on paper, these two teams going into the NFC Championship are pretty much evenly matched at a certain point.
All right. Before I give my opinion real quick, let me read some super chats. Of course, it's from Casual. He talked about Luca, 73, 10, and 7. We talked about that earlier. Luca is he big time.
Damn.
And of course, we talked about Devin Booker, 62, 5, and 4. I mean, damn. I mean, a few days ago, we saw Joel Embiid 70, 18, and 5, and then Cat dropping over 60 points with 10 threes. But of course, we all know Luca and Devin Booker, huge fans of the late great Kobe Bryant. God rest his wonderful soul.
Peace,
Love
bro.
Kobe, great basketball player, great role model, Mamba mentality. Man, I mean, I can't believe it's been 4 years, man. It's been
Man,
it's sad to see him gone but never forgotten. Kobe will always be in our hearts and minds, and prayers go out to Vanessa and the family.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the whole 2020 fucked everyone else. Fucked everything. This year in 2020, the
It was
pandemic.
a tough year, Harrison.
But when Kobe passed, that was like a big ass slap in the face, like, fire! Like,
Well, well,
damn.
well, well. The thing is,
Guys, come on. We got to move on to
Yeah,
another
yeah,
subject.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My fault.
my
Yeah.
bad. I got carried away a little bit.
But
Sorry.
back to the Bucks and Lions game. Baker played well this season. I hated that he threw that last pick. You gotta be smarter in that type of decision. Now, there's gonna be a huge offseason for Tampa Bay because I don't think they should give Baker Mayfield the money, the max, give him a 1-year deal at best. What are they gonna do with Mike Evans? If Mike Evans decides to leave, hey, you got a really good wide receiver class. Okay. So this is a really good wide receiver class in the draft. You might as well get somebody for Baker Mayfield to develop some camaraderie, help him out and stuff. I hate to see the OC go because Baker is now with another offensive coordinator. So how is Baker Mayfield going to play well in 2024? I think for Harrison, this is a good step for Bryce Young. It'll help him develop. And of course, we'll talk about the NFC with Raheem Morris in just a second. But anyway, let's talk about the other big game on Sunday night. The Chiefs versus the Bills. Of course, everyone is going to go back to the divisional round game between the Bills and the Chiefs. Josh Allen, you can't ask a better game from him in that divisional round game against the Chiefs at Arrowhead. But 13 seconds left on the clock, and Patrick Mahomes somehow, some way, just gets it done in this one against the Bills at the Bills. And yes, Luis, we recognize that's just as bad, as painful as Dallas Cowboys fan. This was the first playoff game Patrick Mahomes had to go on the road, and no matter what, he found a way to get it done. Of course, there was a lot of criticism, particularly the last drive with Josh Allen not getting the ball to Stephon Diggs. He was open on the drag route. He underthrown the ball to Shakir, who was open in the end zone. I still felt like, look, in that situation, Josh Allen should have thrown it to Diggs so that you can waste as much time as possible, try to get the field goal, try to put yourself in a better position to hit the game time field goal or score the touchdown. But more importantly, give less time for Mahomes and company to come back and win that game. Unfortunately, they missed the field goal. Stephon Diggs dropped a big, huge, beautiful dime pass Josh Allen through.
Yep.
I thought Josh Allen, he deserves some criticism on the last drive, but Stephon Diggs didn't step up. Buffalo, is it fair to say that their Super Bowl window has closed? Luis, I'm going to let you go first.
All right, so before I actually be serious, it's still so funny. All right, but let me actually be professional. Respect for you. I don't believe that their Super Bowl window is closed. However, with this cap hit Josh Allen has, and the more you have to pay Von Miller and Stephon Diggs, the more that time goes by, that window, it's like this. It's going slow. It's slowly going like this. Slowly going like this. And eventually it will close. It's a slow burn the way I see it. And my main criticism, and I said it. Let me take off the background real quick. And I said it, and it sounds so cliche. And obviously Josh Allen played a great game. Tyler Bass sold for them. But it comes to a point where if we're putting you in these conversations for potentially being the number 2 quarterback in the league, or for you to even have a chance to surpass Mahomes or anything like that, you need to have some legacy kind of games. Like I'm talking about some crazy legendary, like we're going to talk about that game 50 years from now type of games, especially if you're going up against a guy like Patrick Mahomes. And unfortunately, we've seen time and time again, 2 times in the playoffs, the opposing quarterback has came into Buffalo, extreme conditions, walked in a trap, and took over their trap. Joe Burrow did it last season, completely dominated Buffalo, and Patrick Mahomes did it with one of the worst pass catching offenses we've seen in a long time. So I don't know where Buffalo goes on from here. I think they should personally fire Sean McDermott. I think they've reached their ceiling with him, unfortunately. But it's the cliche thing to say. But Josh Allen, I know you played great, but you have to have legacy kind of games. Brady has had them. Mahomes has had them already. Lamar has had them already. You need to have them type of games we talk about 50 years from now. This was the time to do it. And you let another quarterback come in, walk in your house, and party in it, and just walk away. That's just how I feel. I don't know if you feel that way, Champ, where quarterbacks need to have these legendary type of games. Like they need to completely take over no matter the circumstances, but that's how I feel about Josh Allen. I don't know how much more excuses people can give him.
Champ, I'm going to let you go. What's your thoughts on the game?
Hey.
Do you think the Super Bowl window has closed for Buffalo?
Maybe, but it would really depends on Stephon. If Stephon Diggs comes back and they have to revamp some of those contracts on their defensive side. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, they have a great chance to get another receiver outside of Stephon Diggs in the draft this year. So let's not discount that as well. Number 3, and I'm gonna make this brief. People don't realize when Josh Allen threw that ball, his own offensive lineman got thrown against him as he
Bumped
was
into
making
him.
the throw. And if you really look at it, I've said this before and I'll say it again. His stat line was the same as Lamar Jackson. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back. His stat line was the same as Lamar Jackson. The only difference was he scored one less touchdown. He scored, and my thing is, people always want to blame Josh Allen, but if it wasn't for Josh Allen, would this team even be in contention? No, I doubt it seriously. And you have to take into consideration this: he had the highest usage rate of any quarterback this year. He was used 90% of the time, which means plan A is Josh Allen, plan B is Josh Allen, plan C, D, and F is Josh Allen. And they need to do that. I've been saying this all year about the Buffalo Bills. Until they get out of the cycle of living and dying on the right arm and the legs of Josh Allen, they're going to continue to lose. They're going to continue to lose. Because why are you not running James Cook in a playoff game like you're supposed to? Playoff game, everybody's seen it. The running game has been key to every single game we've saw. Aaron Jones, whether it be Aaron Jones, whether it be Christian McCaffrey, whether it be David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, that has been the key to victory for so many teams. Yet you did it so in order to run Josh Allen 12 times for 72 yards for 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So how much do you want your quarterback to – how much do you want to live and die by the right arm and legs of your quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
Understandable.
Because after a while, it's time to stop. Well, he's the quarterback. He's the quarterback. Hey, what happened to the defense? They didn't have one sack against Patrick Mahomes. Not a one.
Including
Not
and particularly Von Miller, especially with the contract and the money that he's making.
He didn't have not one sack. None of the defense had one sack. They didn't even have pressures on Patrick Mahomes. So where did the responsibility that they play into the game? What about the 3 drop passes by the receivers when he had it right there for him? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure people are going to point to that. He should have had that last one. Yeah, but what about the other 3 I gave you?
The one to Trent Sherfield, the 80-yarder to Diggs.
Yes, you dropped those.
Right.
In the great words of Warren Moon, I can't catch them too.
Right.
So, and my thing is, we compare him to Brett Favre, but if they keep using him like this, he's going to go down in history as this generation's Dan Marino. Because if you really look at it, Miami did the same thing. You didn't get him a defense when you needed. The Killer Bees was on their way out when y'all made it to the Super Bowl. During that 5,000-yard season that he set records in, and I'm not so sure everybody, the defense allowed nearly 400 yards passing every game in the playoffs.
Defense is horrible.
So guess what? You can blame it on Josh Allen if you would like. Hey, feel free, because the quarterback is an easy scapegoat. But how many times are you going to live and die by the right arm of Josh Allen before you realize, hey, we have not done a good job of shearing up the defense. We have not done a good job with finding a second receiver for Stephon Diggs. The receivers that he does have let him down by not catching balls and dropping key balls in key field position situations. And we have an all-star potential running back. We have a Pro Bowl running back straight out of the University of Georgia that we're not running at least 20 times a game in James Cook. Instead,
give him the ball. Like, he can catch too.
Yes. Instead, you would like to run your quarterback 12 times in a playoff game. How misusage and irresponsible can you be?
So, Champ, go ahead, Luis.
I was about to say, if I may, real quick. I'm sorry, PSB.
That's good.
I'm gonna fall back on Josh Allen. I want to ask everybody: when do we, as fans and people in the media, start holding superstar players to superstar standards and then hold them accountable when they don't hit those superstar standards. I'm looking at Stephon Diggs. You getting paid a crap ton of money. You're the number one wide receiver on the team. I don't give a damn if you're double team because every number one wide receiver gets double team. So I don't want to hear none of that. The fact that you are the number one wide receiver on your team, consensus around the league, people look at you as top 5 in the league, a top 5 wide receiver in the league. And I've said this to Trent because Trent is like, oh, he had a down year, so I'm going to just give him a pass because he's not normally like this. No, you're a superstar wide receiver, top 5. I'm holding you to a standard that you got to take over and help out. That's what you need to do. Stephon Diggs this year put up 1,100 yards. There's no reason, especially in that offense, you can't give me 1,300 or 1,400 at the very least. It's very inexcusable to say he had a down year. I'm gonna give him a pass because the offense wasn't like that this year. No, stop that. Josh Allen had over 40 touchdowns, and he made that offense do by himself. And I know Champ mentioned that that the receivers have let Buffalo down, which I agree. But the past 2 months, there's some stats, and I don't want to sound like a stat merchant, but it's kind of hard to overlook it. The past 2 months, Shakir, I forgot his first name, but Shakir has had more yards than Stephon Diggs on less targets. I'm going to say that again. He's had more yards.
Khalil Shakir
has had more yards on half the targets Stephon Diggs has. So again, I beg the question to everybody on the panel and to everybody else all over social media. When do we start holding superstar receivers or superstar players accountable for not hitting superstar expectations? Because 1,100 yards this year for a guy like Stephon Diggs, who's put up 1,500, 1,400 in this offense, is inexcusable. That's what I want to say. So I can't put the full blame on Josh Allen because Stephon Diggs, you have not been it all year. You have not had a 100-yard game since October. We're in January. We're in a divisional round. It's inexcusable. And that's why I butt heads with Trent a little bit for trying to give Stephon Diggs a pass. You're a superstar. I'm not giving you no pass. This is expected of you, and you did not hit these expectations. If we can bump Travis Kelce down a couple spots for not doing Travis Kelce numbers, then we could bump Diggs down a couple spots for not hitting Diggs numbers. It's inexcusable.
That's a fair assessment, Luis. Champ, I'll ask you this question after I let Aiden, Trey, and Harrison get their takes. Aiden, what were your thoughts on the Chiefs versus Bills game? You gotta at least watch that game. What did you think about the game, and do you think that the Bills' Super Bowl window is closed?
I thought the game was good, in my opinion. Both offenses did all right. I still think the Chiefs did better than the Bills did, in my opinion. And just to be honest, Josh Allen's owned by Mahomes. Officially now. He's been beaten 3 times by Mahomes. 3 times in the playoffs. Like, that's just... How do you mess up 3 times?
Words cannot put into context. Huh? All right.
But
Trey, what's your thoughts?
This Productions is brought to you by, once again, another teammate sells Josh Allen again. It's like, bro. It's like, I was looking at the game, I'm like, okay, Diggs, what the hell? And then I watched the kick. I'm like, okay, he put the kick in perfect position. Ain't no way he can miss his kick. He put this kick in perfect position. What happens? He kicks it and he misses it. I'm like, oh no, not again. Not again. Bro, if I'm Josh Allen right now, I'm asking for a trade, like, immediately. I'm like, get me the hell out of Buffalo. I can't do it no more.
Where do you want him to go? That's the number one question if he wants to get traded.
Anywhere but Buffalo.
San Francisco? I mean,
San Fran.
Oh, please no! I don't want that to happen. Oh no, please no.
I don't even know if they have the cap space. Remember,
Matter of fact,
we got to deal
that
with
sounds like
I know.
contract.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
trade him to Atlanta.
Oh fuck
Atlanta,
no! That would be the worst nightmare of my life.
Atlanta,
Fuck you,
I would
Luis.
take Atlanta. I would take Atlanta. Anywhere but Buffalo.
All right,
Back. Okay, it's my turn.
go
now?
ahead, Harrison.
Okay. Good game, but God, why? How many times are we gonna see? Are we gonna see the last time of Taylor Swift? Because Jesus fucking Christ, it's really gonna get. It's getting annoying really fast.
Just wait till they have a kid. It's coming. It's coming. Just wait.
Oh
Bro.
God, that kid's gonna be ugly. I'm sorry.
Make
But-
your point, man.
My
But at
thing,
the end of the day, how do you miss this? How do you? What was that? What was that field goal? Luis, what was that field goal? Was it like below 30 yards?
Bro, I don't even know, but all I know is point blank, perfect position. That boy went. Yew. That's all I know.
Bro, this is worse
Bro,
than Blair Walsh.
that looked like a
Jesus.
chip. From what I was seeing there, it looked like a chip shot.
Is it official? Is it going to be
Tyler
Josh
Bass is
Allen?
one of the best kickers in the league too. That's what's just boggling to me.
It's actually Eddie Pinheiro, but anyways. But is Josh Allen the next Dan Marino? Because he's good, but he's never going to win a Super Bowl.
That's rude.
A lot of people would say Justin Herbert's the next Dan Marino, but that's a good one. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't
dude.
argue with that.
Well, you can't say that because they
I'm
do. They've
sorry.
been playoffs
I
long
know
enough.
it's terrible.
Yeah, but
but
Trey,
like,
they're talking
Jesus.
about in terms of talent, Trey. Justin Herbert, regardless of the talent, that's why a lot of people compare him to Dan Marino because of the talent and what he has to work around him. Even though Herbert is a phenomenal talent, look what he's had to work with all this time. He had Anthony Lynn, who actually did a good job before 2019, and Brandon Staley, which we won't get into any further. But I'm sorry,
2019,
Harrison.
did he have Philip Rivers?
Yes, and then after that, Philip Rivers, the following year, he went to the Colts. They drafted Justin Herbert with the 6th overall pick. Herbert started, I believe, the second game against Kansas City, played well, lost that game, and went on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year and Rookie of the Year.
But all I'm gonna say is, I just feel bad for Josh Allen, and I just feel bad for the organization of Buffalo. But I'm sorry, Sean McDermott. I know you're a former Panther, but what the fuck was that trying to give it the fake punt to Damar Hamlin? Bro, I swear.
We gonna start a prayer jar for Harrison.
That was horrible.
But I'm sorry, but that was by far one of the most dumbest fucking plays ever. The bro was trying to be Ron Rivera in 2015. Bro, I'll say this. Sean McDermott has some balls to do that. But thank God that defense stepped
but I
up.
said, bro, when he did that, I was like, man, what the F was that? What was that?
I promise you.
interesting
I
that you
promise
brought
you,
that
when I
up.
get a job, every time Harrison swears, I'll donate $2 to charity. This is outrageous, Harrison.
It's all good, but it's interesting that you brought that up, Harrison, because Sean McDermott, before the second half began, he was interviewed by CBS Sports reporter Tracy Wolfson, and his words were, "Go for it." So perhaps he kind of felt like he knew exactly what he was doing, and unfortunately, it cost them. But Champ, the question I wanted to ask you. You know, we talked about Ken Dorsey. He got fired, I believe, after the Monday Night Football game against the Buffalo Bills, in which Josh Allen didn't play particularly well. You notice how well Joe Brady was doing a good job calling the plays on offense, and I think he did a great job incorporating the run more. So is it fair to say, Champ? Go ahead, Harrison.
Man, I feel bad for Joe Brady. I wish we kept Joe Brady and fired Matt Rule instead of Joe Brady, because Joe Brady's actually was not that bad of an offensive coordinator with us. But now Joe Brady's just turned into an elite offensive coordinator in Buffalo. Oh God, I hate my organization.
All right, but Champ, I'm gonna ask you this question because you said, "Hey, if Ken Dorsey's out the door, sooner than later, Sean McDermott's gonna be out the door." Is it time for Buffalo to pull the plug on McDermott, Champ?
I will say this. Let me say this. I will give it one last year. It's the last ride. The great words of the Taker and the Undertaker. This is your last ride. We're gonna draft some guys. We're gonna make some rearrangements on this roster. But this is your last ride. You can't perform this year. It's out of the door. Because the thing is, you have not gotten further than the divisional title game since that AFC championship game. You haven't
Mm-hmm.
added to your resume.
Mm-hmm.
And Bills Mafia, greatest fan base in the world. Hey, for them to have a caliber of quarterback like a Josh Allen that they have not had since Jim Kelly is spectacular. That city wants and deserves a championship. And like I said, I would give them one last ride, considering that, you know, you helped build this team. You came in and you help us build up. But this is your last ride. You know, if you cannot get it done this year, and I will monitor this year very, very closely. Hey, whatever you need, we're gonna go get it. You need a second receiver, we're gonna go get it. You already got a running back, we don't want to hear it. We're gonna sure you up some parts around this defense to see if you can make a run at it. If you do not make it this year, it's gonna be a whole nother conversation. Because hey, this division football in the AFC is only getting better.
Sure
It's
has.
only getting better, especially with some of the coaches, especially with some of the coaches in the AFC West that just came in. Jim Harbaugh just came in. Sean Payton, when he gets his own quarterback, he came in this year and he was had the team playing pretty well. And then and then and then Antonio Pierce, he has been a he's going to be an X
Godsend. He's
factor.
been a godsend to the Raiders.
Yes. So guess what? And you know, this is arguably one of the worst Kansas City Chiefs teams we've seen. They were not tops in offense like we've seen previously. They were not that high-powered offense that we were used to seeing over the years. So for them to come in not at their best and Rashid Rice just emerging near close to the end of the season is you got to take into consideration. Is it really Josh Allen or is it the coaching? And this year's going to be a big show and tell because, hey, you know what you need. You need a second receiver. You need to shear up that defense. You need to start running James Cook. And if you don't do it, and if you don't do it accordingly, out of the door you go. If, and that's only if, and that's if Ben Johnson is not available this year. If he's available this year,
Please, no.
and they get wind of it, and no other team picks him up, I'm on the phone with him asking, hey, I need you to come in and lead this team on a resurgence and go to a championship, much like you're about to do with the Detroit Lions.
Please, no. I don't need that
So,
stress in my life.
I just don't think, Champ. Let me just say this. I just don't think it's not coaching staff. It's not the quarterback. Are they a curse? Is that the thing? Are they a
I
curse?
mean, my thing is the only I always say this: the only curses are self-imposed. And my thing is, look, there is a such thing as a team being better than you on a certain day. That's why they named the movie Any Given Sunday, Any Given Sunday.
All
That's
right.
why they named it that movie.
Gotcha.
I think overall, champ. I think Joe Brady, if they want to give, hey, he wants to be a head coach. He doesn't want to be a head coach on the college football level. He wants to be a head coach on the NFL level. Joe Brady, he did a really good job turning around the offense by incorporating James Cook more. Josh Allen, I don't really know what more could you do other than that last drive. Stephon Diggs, I agree with Luis's point. We have to hold players more accountable, especially with the type of status that they have. But speaking for Kansas City, Mahomes, that dude. Big Red, Andy Reid. I mean, I don't know how they do it. They just do it. As Rudy Tomjanovich always says, never underestimate the heart of a champion. So speaking of the Chiefs, now let's get to the AFC Championship picks. Trey, I'm going to let you go first. Who do you have in this game between the Chiefs and the Ravens?
Well, of course, I got the Ravens, of course, because I just feel like, hey, I just feel like Lamar is his time. It's his time. It's like okay, we went through. We been here before. We was number one before. It didn't work out. We won a playoff game the next year. And unfortunately, you got hurt the last 2 years. So it's like okay, it's his time now.
All right. And also, for those who may not know, yes, Thuney has been ruled out of the Chiefs.
Yep.
Also, Mike Edwards, Willie Gay, however, they've been ruled as questionable. Okay,
Ew.
because Willie Gay had to go out because I believe the neck injury, and Mike Edwards had was in concussion protocol. So this doesn't look pretty good if you're Kansas City. So if you are Baltimore, the pressure's on you because you're at home. One their best lineman is gone in that game, who made all pro, to Luis's point. Patrick Mahomes now is already cemented. Even if he doesn't play another down, he's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a first ballot. First ballot. I already have him as the top 3 quarterback of all time. I have Brady, Montana, I have Mahomes, I have Peyton, and I have Rodgers. Those are my top 5 quarterbacks. Lamar, this is it for you, man. Plus, if you to Trent's point, if you win a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP, lock for the Hall of Fame. Even if he doesn't win a playoff game, I still believe he'll be in the conversation for the Hall of Fame because you have to factor the MVPs and his playing style and his record, and he's able to go far, make a conference championship game, and what much of a difference maker he is. And of course, you have to factor his running ability as well, the
And if
rushing
we're and
yards.
if we're talking longevity, he's gonna be the number one QB rusher in like 2 years,
Right. And also, too, he
numbers wise. Leading
he's the
rusher.
only current quarterback to have multiple league MVPs. Champ, only Mahomes and Rodgers have that. No other quarterback, not Burrow, not Josh Allen, has any of that. I said on your pod, Ravens should win this one 27-24. It's going to be a close one. And I think if Joe Thuney is hurt, even though with Kansas City, Baltimore, you better find a way to get after Patrick Mahomes. Kind of like, I don't know if you mentioned this, Luis or Trey, the Super Bowl a couple of years ago between the Chiefs and the Bucks. The reason I picked the Bucks to win that one, I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes, I don't care if it's Tom Brady. Without an offensive line, that's hell for a quarterback. Ironically, even though they lost that one, Patrick Mahomes, I still don't know how he made those throws in that Super Bowl, but he's going to have a hard time dealing with that defense, with the number one team scoring defense and the passing defense. I think Lamar Jackson, you don't have to ask him to play spectacular. All he has to do is play consistent and well enough to win. I hope he wins so that he can debunk the narrative that he can't succeed, that he can't win. I want him to win so bad because I'm tired of Mookie. I'm tired of Colin Cowherd. I'm tired of other critics of Lamar who saying that he can't win. He can't throw the ball consistently enough. This is a great opportunity for him to win this one. And also, and I said it, and I said it, champ, on your pod. We almost in Black History Month. I would love to see another black quarterback to win another Super Bowl. We've seen, of course, Doug Williams. We've seen Russell Wilson. We've seen Patrick Mahomes. Lamar wins this one. Oh my God. And we had this conversation. I don't know if we want to bring that up, but this is a huge one for Lamar in terms of his legacy and impact. So I got the Ravens 27-24. I think the Ravens defense is going to play well. They're going to get after Mahomes at some point. And if Mahomes pulls this off, I'm not going to raise your blood pressure, champ. I don't want to do that because I saw you on Brandon's pod.
No, that was an interesting night, but
But we may have to have a discussion. Could he be above Montana? I don't have him above Montana at the moment. but we may have to have that conversation if he can pull off and win this one, and if he can win it back-to-back years, because he'd be the first since Brady to do that, because Brady did that in 03 and 4.
Mhm.
Aiden, who do you have? This is a very emotional one for you because you are a Ravens fan. Who do you have?
I have the Ravens. I'm just praying to God that we win this game. 30-27 final score. Please don't lose.
All right. And he's hoping that it's not scripted, but I digress.
So he can say, man. So he just hope.
Because then we wouldn't have gotten here for no goddamn reason.
Hey, at this point, yes, it's all or nothing.
Harrison, who do you
Look
have?
at Harrison. Yeah, he part of the script.
Trey.
He wrote the script.
Trey.
What? I know what you finna say.
Hold on. I gotta move out of my chair for a second.
I know what you finna
I
say.
am going to be on my knees right now, and I'm
You're
hoping.
praying?
I am praying because we don't want to see Taylor Swift in the fucking Super Bowl. Trey,
Oh, Lord.
I am counting on you to not let this happen.
Hey, PSP, best believe I got that timestamp. That was the
I am
first
going.
timestamp
I
I
am
wrote.
going.
That's
With
the
the
first timestamp I
Ravens
wrote.
on this one.
First one I wrote, him praying. Clip that.
I'm going with the Ravens on this one. 28-27. Just don't let us down, Trey, please.
Cause I see your background. So basically, you're like, please, I hope this girl come
What's wrong with
to.
Taylor Swift? Hey, y'all acting like she the Kardashians or something.
Bro,
It's like,
do
bro,
you not
it's
see her
like,
face,
bro.
bro?
Who wants
Bro
to
has
see Taylor
plastic.
Swift
She
at the
has
Super
plastic
Bowl?
on her face.
They
I
wanna
think
put something going.
we need to stop warranting the hate towards Taylor Swift and just warrant it towards the NFL because she's just living. She's just living her life.
She's just a fan. She's just
No,
enjoying
It's
the
not
game.
her
That's
fault that the
it.
camera's
Bro,
all
she has
over her,
no.
bro.
You know
It's
why?
not.
Because CBS been
All right,
just
bro.
looking at the
You see,
camera on Taylor
I
Swift
know,
every
but I
single
just
time when
think
Travis
I
Kelce
just
makes
think
a
the hate
fucking
It's like,
towards
bro.
her
Every
is unwarranted. She's just showing up supporting her boyfriend. It's the NFL that's
I've
just like showing.
I've never seen somebody predict like every time the Chiefs score a touchdown, like, here they come, they finna go right back to Taylor Swift again.
Yeah,
Touchdown,
Exactly.
Chiefs,
it
right back
sucks.
to Taylor Swift.
Believe me, it sucks. But she shouldn't get any hate. She's just trying to enjoy the game. It's not her fault.
I
that
know,
they keep
but
showing
just
her.
I'm praying to God, Trey.
Not her fault. She
Okay.
dated
Stephen A.
the one of the best
Okay,
tight ends of all time.
bottom line, Harrison is just annoyed.
He's
That's
annoyed.
20.
Everybody
Okay,
is.
final answer.
Everybody is.
Ravens 28-27.
all right. Aiden, was there something you wanted to say?
Yeah, on the Taylor Swift thing, Stephen A. said the same thing on First Take whenever he was at the college football national championship. He told Mad Dog, you don't find the camera finds you.
That is true. That is
true.
true. That is true. When you are a noticeable figure, especially one of Taylor Swift, camera's always gonna follow you. Cell
Unfortunately.
phone, everywhere. Champ, did I
That's
get
why
your prediction?
Go. Did Luis you go?
No, I don't think I asked Luis, but Luis, you can go if you want.
I'm just looking at the timestamp, so I got a few later.
Wow, Harrison praying on a national on TV. Wow,
All right, so I've said this plenty of times. I mean, damn, our entire friend group got podcasts all weeks, man. I feel like I know all y'all predictions by heart. But I've said this so many times. My heart says Lamar, man. Lamar in Baltimore. Like that's what my heart says. But I said, man, if I'm a betting man and I gotta use my brain, Patrick Mahomes has never given me a reason to doubt him and to bet against him. So I'm not gonna do the score. I'm not good at that, but I think it's gonna be a close game. Unfortunately, I have Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs winning. My heart says Lamar in Baltimore. I really would love Lamar to go ahead and get this ring, but I just can't doubt that man, Patrick Mahomes, until he gives me a reason to doubt him. Just for that, I gotta go with the Chiefs, man. Unfortunately.
Big Champ, talk to me, man.
You have every single factor in your favor, Baltimore. You have no excuse, Baltimore. Their starting right guard is out, Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
You better bring it home. And they
but
will.
I don't. But here's the factor that we
On
don't
Trey,
have.
let champ finish, Trey.
And they will. 34-20. Baltimore brings it home. Lamar's going to the Super Bowl.
He and the Baltimore Ravens are 4-point favorite. So they have no excuse for them not to lose this one. But Trey, I'll let you have the last word before we move on to the NFC Championship picks.
Okay. The one key factor that I not trust in this damn game, them damn referees. When I saw, who was gonna be I said, bruh, I wouldn't be surprised if we get screwed over. But I'm still gonna pick my team.
All right.
Wait,
And
who's
I think
repping
this is
that
going
game?
to be a great game. I think, heck, I would not be surprised if this game goes to overtime. I would love to see that game go to overtime. But let's talk about the NFC Championship game, Detroit versus San Francisco.
Wait, did you get your predictions off PSP? Or you just
Yeah, I
did?
already said it. I said it on Champ Show, and I said it just now, 27-24. I got it. But let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers. They got the Detroit Lions. The 49ers are 7-point favorites to win this one. Now, our dude, Broad Sports, diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan, he had to hear a lot of criticism from 49ers fans saying, hey, if Brock Purdy actually played well in that game, continued in that game, we would have went to the Super Bowl. Well, Brock Purdy, this is an opportunity for you, man.
Prove it.
And we're going to look and see not just Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, because it always piggybacks to me what Cam Newton had to say. Remember when he said Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, game managers? We're going to see this one.
Right.
Now, Champ, we don't know who he going to pick, but he did make an interesting point. Experience. Jared Goff does have more playoff experience. He's been to a Super Bowl, unlike Brock Purdy. Now, we can say, well, you know what? That has a lot to do with the fact with the Rams. It has a lot to do with the team. But Jared Goff, to his credit, has played well. Brock Purdy, this is a statement game for you. Debo's going to play in that game. You got CMC in that game. George Kittle's going to be in that game.
Got everybody.
This is a game. This is an opportunity for you, man. And we've seen you in games against the Browns, Vikings, Bengals, Ravens. We've seen you at times struggle, man. So I believe that the 49ers is going to be close. 30-23. San Fran over Detroit. Because I think Dan Campbell is going to do something dumb. He's going to be too crazy. He's going to make a play call that you're like, what the F are you doing? And I believe it may cost Detroit the game. So I'm going to bring Leaf back on the pod. And Leaf has this crazy face. I don't know why he always has that crazy face. Harrison.
Ain't nothing wrong with my damn face. I
Yes,
just
it
Bro,
is.
it's funny as fuck right
ain't
now.
nothing wrong with my face. I ain't shaving in a while. That's all it was.
No, it's not. It's not the beard that's the problem. It's the weird looks that you give.
It's the
just the
face. It's
angle
the
that
face
I
he
got.
made when Miguel Bridges
Like
gets
you
traded
just
to the
be
Eagles.
like
See,
you
that
just be
weird
just
look.
mad for no damn reason, just angry.
I'm
Man,
actually smiling, realistically.
I ain't
Harrison,
like that,
who do you
was
have?
smiling, dog.
Who do you have, Harrison? Who do
All
you
right.
have?
All right. This is going to be a battle. They won their first ever playoff game in 32 years. The Detroit Lions. You got Jared Goff. You got Jahmyr Gibbs. You got David Montgomery, Amara St. Brown, Sam Laporta. A top 5, top 10 offensive line. And the defense it's getting better. Well, we could say that for an example. But you got the mid quarterback, Brock Purdy.
Oh my
And you
goodness.
got C-Mac attack. In my heart, I want to I want to go root. Should I root for CMC or should I root for the big underdog? 50-50. But I'm going with Christian. I want C-Mac Attack to win his first ring in his career. So give me the San Francisco 49ers 35-34.
Wow. I mean, nice one. Nice pick right there. Leaf.
Yeah. Man, listen. I'll be honest with you. I think these two teams mirror each other a whole lot, and that's probably going to play into the 49ers' hands a whole lot as well. I don't think anybody could mirror them more than them. You know that if that makes any sense at all. So I appreciate what the Detroit Lions have done. Um, for first time in the last 32 years, they hosted a playoff game. They won two playoff games, and they added to that as well. So, but I think the buck stops here. Um, I think I see it almost impossible, man. Like if we couldn't beat the San Francisco 49ers with all the momentum that we had, bro, like I don't think the Detroit Lions is gonna beat them neither. Score is probably gonna be like a 24-21, maybe 27-24, something like that, man. It's gonna be probably a 3-point game. 49ers they're gonna somehow, some way wind up in the Super Bowl. This is what the NFL wants, man. So
Aiden.
Both offenses, both defenses are good, but I mean, whenever San Francisco faced Green Bay last week, they didn't really do good as they usually do. So I have one thing to say. I have Detroit 30-27, I think.
Okay. Trey.
Well, looking at the situation, please, 49ers. Because I said it all year. I don't trust Dan Campbell. I think he go do something stupid this game.
All right, Luis.
Well, I mean, I just gotta go with the overall team experience on this one. I'm gonna go with the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan. Yes, Brock Purdy doesn't have the experience Jared Goff does, but Jared Goff is one man. The 49ers are a whole other team. And I feel like they just have much more of a playoff pedigree than the Lions. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be a game where the lights are too bright for Detroit. Unfortunately, I think this is going to catch up to them, and I think this is going to be a learning experience for them going into next year because this is definitely what they need. But I think as an overall team, San Francisco just has a much deeper pedigree, and Kyle Shanahan he's been to the big game, so he knows what it takes to get there. So I'm gonna go with San Francisco on this one. I think the lights are just too bright for Detroit, unfortunately.
Big champ.
All right. In their last 11 road playoff games, Detroit Lions are 0-11. Ironically, though, their last road playoff win was against the San Francisco 49ers in 1957.
Ooh.
Really? I knew you was
In,
gonna
their,
do
in route
that.
to their third championship under the great Bobby Lane. Does history repeats itself? I think it does.
Ooh.
34-28, Detroit.
Oh shit!
Eminem is going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Eminem.
So we gonna see
oh,
Eminem versus Taylor Swift?
that's
Oh,
so they setting up an Eminem Taylor Swift halftime show. That's what they
Hey,
do.
hey, Leaf, you
Usher's
see the
doing the
vision, Leaf.
halftime show,
You see
bro.
the vision.
Usher's performing in the Super Bowl.
Usher performing. Oh,
They
okay.
gonna kick
Yeah.
him out. They gonna kick him out. I
Nah,
Oh,
guarantee.
so
fuck
yeah,
Usher.
yeah.
But I
You
want to
know
see
what?
Eminem
You know
in
what?
the Super
Champ,
Bowl.
yeah, yeah. Champ. Here's the thing about the Super Bowl. They have to sub. They can't just like put on football. They got to put on an entertainment venue. So like that could possibly be true. That could possibly be true. But at the same time, I don't see the NFL moving on for their main character syndrome that
I don't
they
think they're
have.
going to be performing, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Lions and the Chiefs go on the Super Bowl. You'll see Eminem and Taylor
The
Swift in the
Lions
Super
versus
Bowl
the
commercial.
the Lions versus the Chiefs, bro. To me, I don't think that's a game at all. Chiefs gonna beat the hell out of them. Like that's I don't think that's a game.
You
No,
don't
I
think
still
if they
think,
beat San Francisco, they don't put any questions aside or anything like?
I
even though
mean,
early, and
like
remember, early in the season, Detroit did beat
Yeah,
Kansas
they
City.
did beat Kansas City too.
they did beat Kansas City, but they definitely did. But I'll give you some notable games with some NFC teams that have done the unthinkable. The Atlanta Falcons in 1998, they went on to the Super Bowl. They got dusted.
Damn.
The Giants in 2000, they went on to the Super Bowl. They didn't
Got
score.
dusted.
Got dusted. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's a lot of teams that went there, and they pretty much got embarrassed so bad, Ben. It did almost look like they didn't belong there. So I mean,
Hey,
Let's move. You want to go ahead, champ?
hey, on that Atlanta Falcons team, you have a point, but think about this. That was the defense that led us to that. We didn't have but one star player on that offensive side of the ball, and that was Jamal Anderson.
Jamal
So,
Dirty
Anderson, yeah, I
Bird.
remember that. Dirty Bird.
yeah,
I love that Dirty Bird dance, man.
yeah,
Dirty Birds team. Yeah, I remember that team, man. That team, I don't remember nobody else that they had on that team. I just know
yeah.
they was not
Brian
super.
Finneran. I
Brian,
remember
yeah,
him.
Brian
Yeah,
Finneran. Yeah,
Brian
yeah.
Finneran, it was Michael Hayes,
Who was the
uh,
quarterback that year?
Chris Chandler.
Chris Taylor.
Chris
Chris
Chandler.
Chandler. Oh my God,
Chris
Yeah,
Chandler was
that
the
was back in
quarterback.
the day,
Yeah,
man.
that's a
Chuck
name
Smith.
that we
yeah.
would not remember unless you digged it up. Oh
Only
man,
thing I remember about that Super Bowl was Shannon Sharp and Ray Buchanan. And Ray Buchanan showed up to the Super Bowl with that
hey,
dog collar
champ.
around his neck.
Before we move on, hey, champ, did you hear what Nelly had to say about the the Atlanta Falcons and Atlanta Hawks of why they never gonna win?
Yeah, but we'll save that for another day.
Yes. Speaking of the Atlanta Falcons, let's move on to. We're still going to keep in touch with the NFL, but head coaches. Champ, I'm going to let you go first because you are a huge Atlanta Falcons fan. They hired Raheem Morris. Um, I think this is a solid hire. I said this is a solid hire because at least you still keep your defense intact, and I think Raheem Morris is going to do his part on the defensive side. Thank the good Lord, and you were finally. Thank the good Lord. You probably went to church. You probably did something. You probably were on your put your hand on your Bible, and you were praising God for firing Arthur Smith. You wanted Arthur Smith gone, but unfortunately, you still stuck with a quarterback in Desmond Ritter, and you also have Taylor Heineke. You have to look at somebody in the draft. Maybe you probably get Justin Fields in the trade, but what's your thoughts on Raheem Morris?
Number one, Raheem Morris. He has a Super Bowl pedigree. He was around. He was on that Los Angeles Rams team that won the Super Bowl. Not to mention, he was on that Tampa Bay Bucks team that won the Super Bowl back in 2002. People don't know that. I'm pretty sure people are going to point to the win-loss record and the fact that he only had one winning season in Tampa Bay. But of course, people got to realize this. That team was in disarray. They did not have – they had just gotten rid of Rich McKay as the general manager years earlier because him and John Gruden, Chucky, was bumping heads, and he just couldn't take it anymore. That's how come Rich McKay ended up in Atlanta. So, I mean, for him to take that team for 10 to go 10-6 and end up third in that division and, you know, behind the Saints and the Falcons that year was nothing short of amazing because considering his quarterback was Josh Freeman. So he didn't have a quarterback. He didn't have a lot of talent on that team. So I don't hold that against him. And number two, he knows his way around the organization because he was there before with Dan Quinn. He was the interim head coach, although he went 4-7, he was able to do a pretty decent job considering some of the talent that we had was on the downhill side. So I think that it's a great hire. I think that Terry Fontenot is gonna put him into position to succeed. And you have to be honest with yourself. They are a quarterback away from being a division leader. In fact, they almost made it this year. So with Bijan Robinson, some of those weapons that they have, they shouldn't have any problems. And their defense is top 10. The only team that allowed more points on defense than the Atlanta Falcons this year was the Baltimore Ravens, and that's saying something. So, hey, gave him the start. They gave him the starting job. They gave him the head coaching job. It's going to be interesting to see how he does now that he has talent on his team, because last few teams he didn't have any talent on his team. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with that talent. But the front office has to put him in a position to succeed. Mm-hmm. The front office have to put him in the position to succeed. If you do not give him a quarterback, you are shooting yourself directly in the foot. Directly in the foot. So, you need a quarterback, and you need to get a quarterback fast, because otherwise we're going to have another year of turnovers and another year of what if and another year of fire the head coach. And you had an opportunity not only this year, last year in the draft in order to get one, but you also had an opportunity in order to get Lamar as Matt Ryan was walking out of the door. Instead, you opted to go after Deshaun Watson, which alienated Matt Ryan, which is arguably the greatest quarterback in this franchise's history. And you alienated him on the way out of the door to go and get Deshaun Watson. So for everybody saying that Lamar wouldn't have came, you literally went out on a limb to get Deshaun Watson. It was all in the headlines. So let's not pretend, Atlanta. You alienated your franchise quarterback on the way out the door. Granted, he was done, but you didn't have to alienate him for Deshaun Watson. Let's just be clear. So get Coach Morris a quarterback. Get him a quarterback. Make some moves in free agency, because right now you are arguably the most talented team in that division. Talented. I will say talented. You get a quarterback so you can have some good offense, you'll make it. If you continue to make the same mistakes of not getting a quarterback when you need one, we'll find ourselves having another coaching change another year or two from now. Now, last note. We haven't had a winning season since the year after we went to the Super Bowl and blew that lead. We have been losing ever since then.
Really? Like every it's been a losing season ever since?
Yes, and we have not had a winning season in almost 10 years.
That's right.
So, I have a theory. Actually, go ahead, champ. I want to.
So you really need to be on your P's and Q's, Mr. Blank, Terry Fontenot, Rich McKay. You got to be on your P's and Q's this draft. You cannot afford to mess this up. That is all I have.
Go ahead, Leaf.
My bad. I'm eating cookies. Somebody else to go home.
I got you. So champ, if I may, if I can ask a question, or for the whole panel, matter of fact, is it safe to say that the Atlanta Falcons are trying to do something similar compared to what Houston did last year with D'Amico Ryans? Because when Houston brought in D'Amico Ryans, they brought in a guy who was familiar with the city, familiar with the culture, familiar, who knows his ins and outs of the organization. Is it safe to say that Atlanta is trying their hardest to try to replicate what Houston did with D'Amico Ryans? Because they brought in a man who knows his ins and outs of the organization, who has had success in the past before within the organization, who knows the culture, and who knows what Atlanta's about. So is it safe to say that Atlanta is trying to find lightning in a bottle the same way Houston did with D'Amico Ryans?
Yes, and you already have a formula in order for him to be successful. Like I said, outside of Baltimore, Atlanta allowed I think, the second or third fewest points in the NFL this year. So you have to think to yourself, I brought in a defensive coach. My defense is already top 10. So I'm not going to have to worry about that. My main problem was generating points so that my defense is not on the field all day long. I need a quarterback. And if Terry Fontenot and the Falcons organization knew what was good for it, they draft a quarterback in the first round. They don't go and try to reach for a defensive end. You don't go and try to get another running back. You already have a top 10 defense in a weak division. And you got to think about it. Your division rivals outside of Tampa Bay, none of them have very, very good teams. New Orleans is $80 million over the cap right now.
And Tampa Bay just lost the offensive coordinator, so we don't know
Tampa Bay just lost the offensive coordinator. Hey, Harrison, no disrespect to you, but we all know that the Carolina Panthers are rebuilding.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I can see that.
20-year
window.
And you're also forgetting one component, champ.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is to Harrison's demise. Carolina, remember, does not have the number 1 overall pick because of the Bryce Young trade.
Like
Chicago
I said, it's a rebuild project. It's a complete rebuild.
Man, I did not realize that.
And the key to victory. The key to victory is, and people can say whatever they want to. The key to victory in trying to win a Super Bowl is first winning your division. Winning your division so that you can put yourself in a position to get a first round bye. Mm-hmm. And unlike previous years, these last 2 years, only one team can be at that bye.
And that's detrimental.
And yes. And earlier this year, you were 6-6 at the top of the division. You went down you were 6-6 at the midpoint of the season, and then you end up winning only one game going down the stretch. So that has to be fixed. So, hey, Atlanta, draft a quarterback. You did all of that complaining when Matt Ryan was there, although he was winning for all those years. You did all that complaining. Now it's time to find his replacement so we can get back to the Super Bowl or at least the playoffs. That's it for me.
I agree.
I feel as though a lot of what you said, like when we look at a lot of these teams, but what was interesting to me, and I don't want to drag this segment out, is Nelly was speaking on how why teams like the teams in Atlanta, like the Hawks and the Falcons, would never win outside of teams like the Braves and the soccer team or whatever. He kind of he didn't like finger point, bro, but he did kind of blame it on the fan base a bit, because when y'all was up 28-3 in that Super Bowl, Ludacris, I think Bow Wow, JD, like a whole bunch of people that was at the game. It was like it was on the gram, it was turning up, and then it happened, and then 34-28. So I think a big question is: are there teams in professional sports that are devoid of championships because of their fan base?
I don't think so, because we've seen too many fan bases win. We've seen too many teams that don't have as strong fan bases win Super Bowl. And we've seen teams that, have a superstar fan base win a Super Bowl. Hey, people forget during the peak of the greatest show on turf, who was running St. Louis at that point? It was Nelly. He was, the only difference between now and back then when certain teams were running the NFL is there was no social media. And when you think about it, man, celebrities, when they get on social media and they're watching their teams, they do that every single day. Mm-hmm. They do it every single day. Hell, Uncle Luke was on the sideline of the University of Miami, bro. So to say that is kind of crazy, because it's like, when, we see Snoop Dogg on the sideline sometimes with Pittsburgh. So, hey, and not only that, man, look, Atlanta has not won in Super Bowl because, number one, the organization. People can say what they want to about the late, great Jerry Krause, but I agree with every word he said. Organizations win championships. You have to have an organization committed to winning a championship. Players and coaches alone don't win them. You have to have organizations that's willing to take risks, put the correct players and the correct coaches out there on the field so they can win a championship.
Right.
I think it's some truth to that, but at the same time, I think a better question is, I think when I seen Nelly said that, I think he was probably more so pointing of the probably just the behavior of certain fans. I realized, and I had to pinpoint it when the Eagles won the championship, they damn near tore up Philly.
Yeah, no, they burnt that city down.
They damn near tore up the city. They
down.
damn near tore up downtown Philly. And that was the last time that they won a championship. So I think a better question is I think a better question is are certain teams devoid of championships because of their fans' behavior?
Not necessarily. Like I said, it's all on it all comes down to on the field. Fans do not dictate what happened on that field, man. And they don't dictate what happened in the front office. Hey, if you don't believe that, look at some of those Dallas Cowboy teams. Look at some of those San Francisco 49er teams. You know, you got to think about the product that you're putting on the field. Fans and people like myself who talk about sports, we don't play the sport. You got to think about what those players and what that organization is doing. And like I said, every fan base has their rowdy fans. Dallas Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, at the end of the day, it's up to that organization to put players and coaches in position in order to win. And if you don't do that by taking the right risk at the right time, you're going to fail.
I mean, there's some truth to that. But I do feel like if the Hawks and the Falcons win the championship, that city is gonna turn the hell up, bro.
To be honest with you, the Hawks had a chance to win a championship. You traded Dominique Wilkins in his prime when you had a playoff team in 1992. You had an opportunity. That's the difference between the Braves organization and the Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta Hawks organization. The Braves go out there and they get their players, they put them under contract, and they make sure they sign them long term, and they make the right trades. Freddie Freeman, people don't even realize this. The year we won the World Series,
he didn't want to leave. Yeah, he was hurt.
Freddie Freeman was hurt.
Leave, yeah.
Ronald Acuna was hurt too.
Yes, Ronald Acuna was hurt. Two of our best players were hurt. And what did they do? They went out there and at the All-Star break made trade after trade after trade in order to make that team better. And boom, World Series championship.
You got that 2021 Braves was unbelievable.
That
Adam Duvall was hot in that playoff game, and he was exactly. I love Adam Duvall.
And that's
I think the only fan base that actually when they won a championship, that was probably one of the most heartfelt things. Was probably the Chicago Cubs in 2016.
Yes.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
That was one of the most
emotional. You talking about towing the city up? They ran through the streets.
Yeah,
me
they run through the streets.
Me personally,
but going back to the Atlanta Falcons organization and the Hawks, you have to take notes from an organization that won already. You have to be aggressive. You have to make trades. You have to cut players. You have to realize when players are on the back end, when you can't play players, and how to put other players in great positions. Freddie Freeman and Ronald Acuna was hurt that year, and we still won a World Series. When does that happen? You lose two of your star players on any team, you're pretty much done.
I'm pretty much cooked, man.
They made every trade necessary, and it's sad that this great state of Georgia does not have a professional team outside of the Braves that doesn't take risks like that. The Atlanta Hawks don't do that. The Falcons don't do that. Take a risk and bring this great state a championship, much like the Georgia Bulldogs and the Atlanta Braves did.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's definitely fair to say, but at the same time, I feel as though a lot of things got to go right, and but a lot of luck has to happen in order definitely for you to win a Super Bowl or NBA championship. I can't really speak for the World Series because I don't watch. I'm not really familiar with baseball, but that's probably could be said to that too. But I mean, to each his own, I guess.
I saw responded, Nelly, you could hear a pin drop in Atlanta after the 28-3 comeback. He wasn't lying. I ain't never seen Atlanta streets so empty. It was like tumbleweeds was rolling through the city.
Yeah,
All right.
that's wild.
Damn, that's
All right,
crazy.
folks, we got to stay on subject for this one last one, and then we're going to do some start benches and cuts. Jim Harbaugh is now the new head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. I read the report from ESPN's Adam Schefter. He's received a 5-year deal. Champ, is he making, was it 14.8 million per
Yes,
year?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Rounded up to 15.
14.8. Also for Michigan, Sherman Moore, the coach who subbed in for Jim Harbaugh during the suspension, has been announced as the new head coach for Michigan. Shout out to Sherman Moore. I think he's going to do great things, and we saw him do that this year. I think this is great for Jim Harbaugh personally because of the quarterback that he has to work with in Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's 25 years old. He'll be 26 come March. This is the best quarterback he's had to work with, Jim Harbaugh, going back to his days at Stanford with, of course, Andrew Luck. So I think, but unfortunately, it's going to take him some time because, again, he's in the division, the AFC West division with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. They're not going anywhere. He may be at best the second or third best head coach in that division. Of course, there's Antonio Pierce, there's Sean Payton. Andy Reid is still going to be number one. And then on top of that, the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, champ, they're over $44 million in cap space, right?
Yeah, let me make sure of that real quick, and let me go because I was just bringing that up. Let me make sure, okay?
Okay.
All right.
But again, that's a lot of money in cap space. We may not know the exact champs finding it out right now, but it's going to take some time for the Chargers to develop. But this was the right choice and the only choice for the Chargers because they're Spanos family. They're known for being cheap. You know, they had a chance to bring in Sean Payton last year. They didn't want to do that. You would have to pay Sean Payton 4 or 5 times more than what you were paying Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley was making like $4 million per year. Okay, and then on top of that, if you are the Chargers, you had to get somebody because if you didn't get a head coach, Justin Herbert was going to pull or demand a trade because outside of the contract that he's getting, the 5-year, $262.5 million contract, over $100 million guaranteed, outside of the money in Los Angeles, why would he be a part of this organization considering all the things Champ has said about with the Chargers, from Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers? Now you have a guy in Justin Herbert. And also, too, Jim Harbaugh, there was no chance in hell he was going to the Dallas Cowboys. I've said it. I'll say it again. There was no way in hell Jerry Jones was not going to hire Jim Harbaugh. He was not going to hire Bill Belichick. The bottom line is, as long as Jerry Jones is going to do things his way, Dallas Cowboys ain't going nowhere. So I'm happy for Jim Harbaugh. He gets to be in the big market. He gets to work with a quarterback who is top 5 in the NFL. It's going to take Herbert some time. And Rashad is saying no excuses for Herbert anymore. He has to get it done with the hiring of Jim Harbaugh. But again, Rashad, it's going to take Herbert some time. You got to give at least 3-4 years. And again, he's in a division which he's not the best quarterback. That's still Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is a few years older than Justin Herbert. Patrick Mahomes is 28. So it's going to take some time for the Chargers. Luis, what's your thoughts on Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers?
To me, if the Chiefs, bearing if the Chiefs don't make a move at wide receiver and they keep the same exact team, my expectations is Chargers should win the division. They should win the division. There's to me, there's no reason why you like if Harbaugh is exactly who people think he is and what he's going to do, he should win the division. And I don't care if people are like, well, Patrick Mahomes is still there. I understand, but if the catching is going to be the same how it was this year, next year, then they should run through this division. But what I will say though is I think there's going to be a lot of changes. I think a lot of the veterans on this team that's making a lot of money, like Joey Bosa. Unfortunately, we all know Joey Bosa is a really very, very good defender, but unfortunately, he's injury prone. And I think Harbaugh is going to make a lot of moves with the older players, probably maybe like Keenan Allen and Joey Bosa to move them to probably go younger. Um, that's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to see a lot of changes. And honestly, yeah, my expectations are they have to win the division. This is one of the most hyped up signings I've seen. There's no excuses now for Justin Herbert too.
Okay. And also Rashad is saying Herbert is a top 5 talent, not a top 5 quarterback in my opinion. But again, a lot of people would disagree, especially our boy Brandon from
Not
the
a
Coast.
crazy take. If you have,
It's not a crazy take, but
if you're ranking everybody healthy and you have Rodgers in there, it's not too crazy.
it's not too crazy, but a lot of people are still gonna love
Yeah,
Herbert.
yeah.
Leaf, what's your thoughts on Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers?
Oh, it's real simple. Brandon, your man's is on the clock. He better get a playoff win. He better do something. Your man's is on the clock.
You going like
yeah, straight up. Your man's is on the clock. Your man's is on the clock. I'm not taking it. It's not gonna be no more of this arm talent or none of this. I don't want to hear no more of that shit, Brandon. I'm not accepting that from you no more. Your man's is on the clock. Him, and Trevor Lawrence are both on the clock, and Trevor Lawrence actually has a win on actually at his expense. So yeah, your man's is on the clock, bro. Simple. Get it done. Figure it out.
I don't really have any comments on the Harbaugh signing. It's a good signing for the Chargers. It's way better than Brandon Staley, and he can help out that team a little bit at least to see what he's done for Michigan. Obviously,
Trey.
Basically, it's a great signing. Well, this basically confirms that Blake Corum is probably going to be a Charger because he's probably going to draft him.
That's actually very good. And now, Austin. Yeah, they might move Austin Eckler too and get Blake Corum. Like I said, I think
move on.
They're gonna move on from a lot of the players.
Gerald Everett as well. So they got a lot of free agents, and plus, they probably still gonna keep Khalil Mack.
Oh yeah, after that season, yeah, you have to.
And Rashad is right. Rashad saying Leaf is exactly right about Herbert. No more excuses for him. You and Leaf, y'all the only ones that agree. That are gonna have to agree with that. Most people don't even get Brandon in there. But Harrison, what's your thoughts about Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers?
I mean, what Leaf said, there's no excuses, and I didn't make my opinions on Robert Morris, by the way, but
we got way too much. We ain't got that much.
It's fine. But yeah, at the end of it, it's a good signing for Jim Harbaugh. That's all I'm gonna say. This has got to be Justin Herbert's last shot. This has got to be Justin Herbert's last shot for him to be top 5. But if he does not make the playoffs with Jim Harbaugh, there's no excuses. They got to get 11 wins. That's what I'm thinking right now. The Chargers got to make the playoffs with 11 to 10 wins. That's the only shot. But we'll see. But this is a good signing. But right now, this is Herbert's time to shine next year in 2024.
Champ.
Hey, with Jim Harbaugh being hired, that is arguably the most richest division as far as coaching is concerned. You're ever going to see. Mm-hmm. Jim Harbaugh, national championship, and he's went to the NFC championship 3 times. Remember, when he first got in the league, that team, he made the NFC championship 3 years in a row. Then he made the Super Bowl. And back then, he didn't have a stable quarterback. He started with Alex Smith, then moved on to Colin Kaepernick, and then, Cap was his quarterback for another year after that. And, after that, it pretty much went downhill from there. Hey, I will say this. It's going to take at least a year in order for them to bring in the people that they want and do everything that they need to do. I'm not expecting them to have a complete turnaround this year. If they do, overachieve. If they don't, you have another year. So I know this is a microwave type of time where we expect coaches to come in and just change the culture automatically, but this is going to take time. But they're going in the right direction without the ownership being cheap. They did what they were supposed to do in hiring a great coach, and it's time to get rid of these guys that you know are not that good for this system. Get them out of there so you can bring some other guys in. Hey, hot take. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Maserati Mars falls into their arms at number 5.
Oh,
Don't be surprised.
oh,
I mean, how many more
Marvin
wide
Harrison
receivers could
dropping
you?
a 5?
I don't
Be
know if that's going to
surprised.
happen
Because if you really look at the Chicago Bears, you look at Chicago Bears, the New England Patriots, the Arizona Cardinals, those first 3 teams, they need one or two things. They need either an offensive lineman or a quarterback.
I think
surprised.
Arizona takes the risk on Maserati Marv.
Hey,
They may have to because again they want to appease Kyler.
Like I said, but what do I always say about quarterbacks? PSP.
They can't throw on their back.
On his back. And guess what? Every single team that is in the top 4 from Chicago, New England, Washington, and Arizona, all of them need either a quarterback or offensive lineman. Every last one of them. The only one that probably does this is the San Diego Chargers. So don't be surprised if Maserati Mars falls in their lap.
Just move him back to San Diego, man. Champ campaigning for it.
Champ has an interesting point.
Could everybody please stop calling them the San Diego Chargers?
No, they're forever San Diego.
All right. But Champ has an interesting point, though, because, hey, Marvin Harrison, one of the top receivers, again, who knows? They may draft another wide receiver, Keenan Allen, getting up there in age. You look at Johnston, the wide receiver from TCU.
Horrible.
Why they keep getting, but again, they keep getting all these big body wide receivers. I don't mind big body wide receivers, but
I mean, Mike Williams is cool, but he just get hurt.
But again, you got to get some other wide receivers. You need more versatility. But if they do get Marvin Harrison, Champ, that'd be huge for Herbert. But like I said, it's going to take a couple of years because I don't see, as much as Jim Harbaugh's there, they ain't turning the switch just like that, man. So it's going to take them a couple of years for them to develop, which is why they're going to have to get rid of some older players, get some newer players. Plus, they got to get the GM. How is he and Harbaugh going to gel? Because it can't be another situation, Champ. Remember with he and Bulky at San Francisco. You can't have that, especially if you're the Chargers.
But another thing that probably bothered him around General Manager Volky is this. None of those players that he picked during that regime ever worked out. LaMichael James, just to name a few. So a lot of those guys didn't work out. Matter of fact, those 3 drafts that Volky had ran, no Pro Bowlers, they weren't even on the team for more than 3 to 4 years. So, of course, your coach is going to be PO'd because you're bringing in guys that can't play.
I wouldn't say Michael James couldn't play. I would say he was just put in a messed up situation because it's like, bro, you're not gonna play. You're not gonna play. They got Frank Gore on this team. You're not gonna start at all.
Well, not just you're not gonna start. It's like as time goes on, man, you had to pay. You were gonna, if barring any trouble, you were gonna have to pay Alden Smith. You were gonna have to pay Navarro Bowman. You couldn't keep Patrick Willis and that whole all-pro linebacker core in place.
I mean,
wait a minute, Trey. You couldn't keep that in place. You were switching out. You couldn't keep Deshaun Golston and Dante Whitner. you was not going to keep that superstar team together. You was not going to keep them together. So guess what? You're going out here drafting the wrong players, and when these guys leave in free agency, I'm left here with the mess that you made as the general manager, and that goes on my tombstone as a coach. Because whether you want to admit it or not, people don't care about, oh yeah, he ain't got no players. That record is on you. When you start losing, the first place they point is the coach or the quarterback.
Yep, definitely no doubt about that. All right, the moment I've been waiting for. Start benches and cuts. Oh, Leaf, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Because we got a good, interesting one. NFL one.
Yeah.
You motherfucker. Oh, God.
What in the actual hell?
Whew,
I know my answer.
that's ugly.
I know everything.
I know my answer. I
Who
know
wants
my
to go
answer.
first? Who wants
I'll
to
go
go
first.
first?
I'll go for it. I won't be as talkative. Literally in that order. Start Breeze, bench Favre, cut Elway.
Trey.
Okay, unlike my man's up top, I'm starting Elway, benching, Favre, and I'm cutting Drew Brees out of
Whoa,
here.
whoa, 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 whoa. You can't say something like that without an explanation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can I ask why? Can I ask why?
Why?
He's about to
Because
break something.
I know
why?
you ain't
The
talking about the
reason
Terrell
why,
Davis merchant.
well, of course, Brett Favre, like I miss Brett Favre. Yeah, he got all the records, but let's not forget, yeah, John Elway still won a Super Bowl at his expense. Then Drew Brees, yeah, you got great numbers, but it's like, yeah, yo, after that Super Bowl win, dog,
He was still having the same numbers after that Super Bowl.
But to
but
Trey's credit, he had 4 straight losing seasons.
But that's a team stat.
It's not his fault. But it's not. I'm not saying that's his fault. But he did have them losing seasons.
He had a horrible defense like halfway through his career.
And then with
And then somehow the defense is turning into like a top 10 defense.
I'm like, dog, John Elway with the whole, bruh. I just every time it's like I would never ever forget.
Luis is so pissed.
Are we forgetting John Elway is one of the worst Super Bowl performers we've seen? The man has.
But look at hold on. I knew you gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that.
Three touchdowns to 8 picks in 5 games.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Who was carried by Terrell Davis, 2,000-yard Terrell Davis.
Wait, Luis, what's his wide receivers? By the way, was it like McCaffrey?
I know he had
McCaffrey Senior, McCaffrey Senior,
Rod Smith,
and Shannon Sharp.
Okay.
Please talk about something about getting carried on that shit.
I knew y'all were gonna say that, and here's what I'm gonna say to that. Who the hell were those guys before John Elway?
Did
nobody know who Rod Smith?
Read you. He is one of the worst Super Bowl performing quarterbacks ever. He is literally. I don't care about who they were before Elway. That's cool. Regular season's cool. I'm literally telling you word for word what I read. He is one of the worst, statistically one of the worst Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. He is one of the worst performing quarterbacks in the Super Bowl.
Have you forgotten about the helicopter?
3 touchdowns to 8 interceptions.
Have you forgotten about the
helicopter? Yeah, I knew you were gonna bring that up. Well, have you ever stopped and thought, who did he face in those Super Bowls? Let's
give a
see.
damn who you face.
Where should I start?
I don't care who you face.
Oh
Where
my
should
3
I
God,
start?
touchdowns,
dude.
2 damn
His
interceptions.
very first Super Bowl.
You
He faced
can't justify that. 3 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. You can't
dude,
justify that.
dude.
Hey,
You can't
Trey,
justify
Trey,
it.
hey Trey,
He
one quick
faced
second. To Trey's point. Now, this is not mine, but to Trey's point, you got to think about this. He ran into Lawrence Taylor and the New York Giants at their peak. He ran into the 49ers at their peak. And, you got to think about the other teams, and you got to think about he ran into the Washington Commanders at their peak with Joe Gibbs. Those are the 3 Super Bowls that he made back in the 80s.
and what
Now,
all those Super Bowls have in common. Oh, his defense sold them in every last one of them games.
But you also got to take into consideration, Trey, to Louise's point, on that last team that he had in, I think it was 89, he did have Steve Atwater. He did have Rulon Jones. He did have Carl Mecklenburg. He did have Dennis Smith Sr. on that team as well. Not to mention he had the 3 amigos on that team as well. So I see where Louise is coming from.
He had those guys. I'm not disagreeing. He had those guys,
God,
and they got carved up by Joe Montana.
I just don't like your.
Not to mention, man. Hey, John Elway. They called him the 2-minute man for a reason, bro.
I don't like discrediting players, but I'm looking at all these 3 quarterbacks on the big stage, and when the lights are bright, Elway is one of the worst performing under the bright lights. There's no way you can.
We're not going to take into consideration Brett Favre and them interceptions in them NFC Championship games. We're not going to talk about that, is we?
No, I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going to talk
about
it. I never said that.
Yeah, and I've said this about Brett Favre, and a lot of people have said this. Without that one Super Bowl, he'll basically be Tony Romo.
No.
Tony Romo Tony Romo in terms of an accident waiting to happen, turnover machine, but Brett Favre was way more a supremely talented quarterback than Tony Romo.
And that's not fair to mention. It's like you had one of his best opportunities. I felt like that he could have went to the Super Bowl was when he went to Minnesota, and he had that crazy season. And that was his best season as a quarterback. He goes to New Orleans, and on the last minute, he throws an interception. And oh my God!
Hold up, I gotta put up something right here. Hold up, maybe this one might be a lot better.
Now you're using me holding my phone with.
It's better than your face, my guy. Okay, you know what, Luis?
What is that supposed to say about my face? What's wrong with my face?
What's wrong with his face?
He's talking about he didn't want to use your face like he did.
Okay, all right.
You know, Luis. Let me go. Luis, I'm with you. I'm starting Breeze, benching Favre, cutting Elway.
All right, champ.
Hey, all right. Hey, I can say all I would like to, bro, but I'm gonna just be real. 3-time MVP at his peak in the 90s. Nobody was touching Favre. So, and people can say whatever they want to about Favre, but Favre was so great that he pushed other quarterbacks like Mark Brunell and Matt Hasselbeck to the bench. So, as far as peak for peak, 3-time MVP straight, I'm taking Brett.
Not a terrible take.
Hey, I'm taking Brett to start. Say whatever you would like. High risk, high reward, just like Josh Allen. But, hey, his peak, hey, you got to give his props. Hey, and here's where the tricky part comes in. Because to Trey's point, I will say this. John Elway got a bad rap from running into dynasties. You know, you ran into Lawrence Taylor in that defense in 86. You ran into the San Francisco 49ers. You ran into Doug Williams and that Joe Gibbs dynasty in the 80s as well. So you ran into 3 all-time great teams. However, when it comes to legacy and turning something around that you just never thought would happen, if you really look back at the Saints organization, who would have ever thought that they would not only win a Super Bowl, but you would beat Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, on the biggest stage? Who would have ever thought that? So, on that note, we're benching Drew Brees, and we're cutting Elway. And the only reason why I cut Elway is because not only some of the Super Bowl failures that he had, but because, like I said, he's the 2-minute man for a reason. But people don't understand this. He essentially, at the tail end of his career, that team was immaculate. And you got to give Mike Shanahan credit where credit is due. Coming from the 49ers and revamping that team to a great zone blocking scheme and what have you, finding Terrell Davis in order to revamp that backfield, something that you never had. I got to do that. So Favre, Breeze, and the whole Favre, it's not by a mile either. It's by an inch. Favre, peak Favre, then bench and peak Breeze, then, we cutting Elway, unfortunately. But, Elway's an all-time great.
Champ, you left out one important thing about Drew Brees.
Oh, the 5,000-yard seasons?
No, not just that. How he was able to overcome that torn labrum back in 2005. And there were only 2 teams that called him. The Saints.
Miami.
And the Dolphins.
Hey, if Nick Saban would have took him, he might be still coaching in the NFL right now. But that's another story for another day because the doctors wouldn't clear him. But, but for him to win I understand what people are going to say, but for Favre to be at his peak, 3 straight MVPs, and just going at it in the West Coast offense with Mike Holmgren, hey, peak, got to take Favre. Breeze, right up there with him. Unfortunately, with Elway, some of those Super Bowl losses does affect his legacy. And people can talk about, well, he has more Super Bowls. You got to think about everything that surrounded, everything that took place prior to that. But if they don't get there without John Elway. And they haven't had another John Elway since, to be honest with you, other than Peyton, I'll say.
All right. Good one, Champ. Leaf.
Bro, how dare you put Favre up here with a stat whore and some idiot, bro, from the 80s, bro. Come on, bro. Favre, Breeze, Elway, bro. I'm done with this.
Why nobody be so damn insulted, man? Dude.
Don't nobody care about Drew Brees' stat.
Hey, whoa, sir.
Well,
as a Drew Brees fan, I take offense.
Well, tell Drew Brees to take his noodle arm, bro, out of here, bro. Like, nobody cares.
Man,
Breeze and Elway with a
stop throwing picks every damn play.
It took him 20 years to do that, though, and he played in a tougher era.
God damn.
What's wrong with Breeze, bro?
He's overrated.
What?
No.
What the hell?
You leave.
Stop.
Only thing I'm gonna say is,
wait a minute. I'm gonna do this one. I want to know in layman's terms how you can say that. I'm all ears. Matter of fact, let me bring the ears up.
Are we forgetting who he played with, bro? Jimmy Graham, Colston, Michael Thomas. Come on,
only one of them.
And I'm gonna say it again. Who the hell were those guys before him?
Wait, Trey. Marcus Colston never made a Pro Bowl. He didn't get Michael Thomas. Wait a minute. He didn't get Michael Thomas until the tail end of his career, his last 3 years. The only Pro Bowl back that he had leading up until that time was Reggie Bush, and he couldn't run between the tackles.
And that was a bounty Super Bowl too, bro. They got suspended for that, man. That don't count,
bro. That's bounty every play.
He didn't even have Reggie Bush in his best year. We did,
bro. Buddy Ryan.
And I don't even think Reggie Bush,
bro. Wait a minute.
And I don't even think Reggie Bush was a starter that year.
What are you talking about? Do you even watch football past 2000? Buddy Ryan been doing that. There was bounties on every single play. NFL players even came out and said they didn't even understand why they suspended him for that. There's bounties on every play. And he won in a city where they had never had a Super Bowl. The closest they ever got was the divisional round. And think about the history of losing that they had.
Remember, they were called the Aints for a reason.
I remember that.
They was wearing paper bags on their heads.
The only thing they ever had prior to Drew Brees getting there was the Dome Patrol, which is arguably the greatest linebacking core in NFL history. They have 4 Hall of Famers on that linebacking core.
I remember the Dome Patrol, but I'm not giving
Luis,
credit
was
for
that
that.
in the background?
Go from that to having a Super Bowl and beating Peyton Manning on the greatest stage. For you to say he's overrated is kind of criminal.
Not just it's blasphemous, champ. Remember, and plus Drew Brees, he isn't the prototypical or conventional style quarterback. Remember, he's 6 feet tall.
He's shorter than that. I've seen him in person. He my height. I'm taller than Drew Brees. I'm 6 feet. The dude he 2 inches above Kyler Murray.
Champ, how tall are you, bro? I'm just asking.
I'm 6 feet. I'm taller than Drew Brees.
So Drew Brees is about 5'11".
Yeah, Drew Brees is about 5'11".
They list him at 6 feet, but how can you say he's overrated?
Here's the thing about
I got
sports.
a problem with me saying I hit a
and then you're actually another size, but that's another story. Hell, they built me as when I was an amateur boxer. They built me as 6'2". I'm far from 6'2", so so I'm like, yeah. But
I ain't gonna lie, yo, champ. How did I know you used to box, bro?
Huh?
How did I know you used to box, bro? Huh?
Hey, man, I'm just being honest. Back when I was boxing,
I figured you used the box. I was like, wait a minute.
But yeah, man, we can't say Drew Brees is over. None of these quarterbacks that are we picking and start benches and cuts right now is overrated at this point. Because the thing is, you got to think about what those Super Bowls meant for each and every last one of those franchises. Think about how long it took Brett Favre to bring a Super Bowl back to Green Bay. They hadn't won a Lombardi since Lombardi was there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about Drew Brees and the history of losing with the New Orleans Saints. They had in the first 25 years, they didn't have a winning season. You got to think about John Elway with, Denver, they made it to the Super Bowl with the Orange Crush, could win. Finally drafted John Elway and was finally relevant again. So
you know what I think about when I think about Drew Brees in that Super Bowl? I think about all of the storylines that was behind those Super Bowls.
Oh my God! Here we go again. I knew you gonna do that.
No, I'm hating. Yes, I'm hating. Yup, bro. I listen. Y'all gotta remember. I come from a city of sore losers, bro. Like I'm hating. No, Drew Brees don't get no credit in my book. No.
How? I want to ask you how.
Favre does.
Of course.
So you think wait, guys. So Brett Favre gets credit for bringing a title back to Titletown, but Drew Brees does not get credit for bringing a championship to a team that hadn't had a winning season in its first 25 years. Are you going to sit here and tell me that? And like I said, you know football better than this, bro. I know you know football. Come on now, man.
And not only that, Drew Brees was able to win a championship after what happened in 2005 with Katrina. After everything New Orleans was doing.
Don't do that because I've been down to New Orleans and there's still businesses and places that are still affected.
Exactly. He revived the entire city.
Right, let's not do that.
The team, to piggyback on Louise, do you know that team was scheduled to move to San Antonio? They had to petition in order to bring them back.
Well, that's a real fact.
And for him to rewrite the record book like
that is on record, actually. They had.
They were supposed to go to San Antonio,
and they had the position to bring it back to New Orleans. They were Oklahoma was another destination, but that San Antonio was So
and then they played a home game in Giant Stadium. That's how bad it was.
Yes, they did.
So for us to sit here and discredit Drew Brees' Super Bowl, it's flat out criminal.
Actually, Luis, it is true. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina forced the New Orleans Saints to relocate to San Antonio for practices and 4 regular season games.
Yes, and
Yeah,
two
it
of
did.
them was at Tiger Stadium at LSU.
Listen,
They didn't even have a stadium. So for us to discredit that, and he rewrote the record books. The guy literally, people could call it empty stats all you want to. But the thing is, he was keeping those teams in that game. And if you really want to be honest, he was still kicking the butts of the Atlanta Falcons at our peak with Matt Ryan, and he was beating Cam Newton. His only loss that year when he went 15-1 was to who? Drew Brees.
listen.
And the fact that he's the only one out of those three that never won an MVP and was flat out robbed of it in 2011 when he led the league in every statistical category in far as passing is flat out criminal. He led it in completion percentage, he led it in yards, he led it in touchdowns.
Oh shit, I had to get up out of that. My bad. Yeah, look.
And
I'm
yet
not
they
gonna
gave
lie.
it to Aaron Rodgers. Biggest injustice since the 1990 MVP race.
Listen. With all of that being said, bro, only thing I remember about that is Sean Payton got suspended, man. That's the only thing I remembered about that.
You like-
So I'm leaving it
give
there.
And who kept that team afloat when
And I'm
Sean
leaving
Payton
it
got
there.
suspended? Who
You
kept
just
that
don't
team
wanna
afloat?
get-
Who kept that team afloat? Let me pull my big ears out. I got some big old ears. I want to hear it. Who held that team afloat when he was suspended? Come on now. Come on, New York City.
Wait. What was the question?
You see, there's not Puerto Rican mustache right in front.
Who held that team together when Sean Payton was suspended in New York City? Come on now. Go ahead.
I don't
Go
know.
ahead and say it, New York City.
I don't remember.
Come on, New York City.
Probably Jimmy. Probably Jimmy Graham, as far as I know.
Oh, he's black.
I don't want to make. I'm not making content no more, bro. I'm
What is
done.
it, 250,
I'm
250,
done.
20?
I'm done. This is my last show.
I got you.
I'm
Hold on.
done.
250, 20. Leaf
I
says some dumb ass shit. Okay, there you go.
This has
This
got to
man
be.
said
This is
Jimmy Graham.
ridiculous. This
What
is
the?
asinine. Leaf. What are you smoking?
I don't agree with this man, but in Stephen A. Smith's word, this is blasphemous. Blasphemous.
Aiden, who are you starting, benching, and cutting?
I forgot Aiden was here. I apologize for my profanity.
Wait, what? Who are we starting mentioning? Okay.
Drew Brees, Brett Favre, John Elway.
And now here's one thing I'll say. I don't know much about Favre. I only know a little bit about Favre, and I don't know anything about John Elway. I know a little bit about Drew Brees. I guess start Brees, bench Favre, and cut Elway.
That's cool.
We
That's not
appreciate
bad.
your honesty. We appreciate your honesty because there'd be some fakers. You know,
Oh yeah. Quick question. My bad if I interrupted you, Aiden. I apologize. Hey, Leaf. You hear me? You hear me, New York?
Breathe.
Yeah, I hear you.
You realize he won that Super Bowl without Jimmy Graham. He didn't come into the next year, right?
I do realize that.
Okay, then. I hope you know that.
2 years. Remember, Jimmy Graham, wasn't he drafted in 2010, 2011?
He was drafted in 2010. He was drafted.
Oh, I apologize. I apologize.
The year after they won the Super Bowl. So
See that nice
For
boy
me,
mustache.
I'm cutting Elway, unfortunately. Start, bench. This is a tough one. Drew Brees is consistent. He puts up numbers, crazy numbers. Plus, he revitalized the franchise and the city of New Orleans. Favre peak without question. He is number one. Despite the turnovers, 336 career interceptions, which is the most interceptions in NFL history. The 3 consecutive MVPs, 95, 96, 97. 2 Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl. Brett Favre was a game changer, 297 consecutive games he started, which is 16 full seasons. For those who may not know, he is the ultimate Iron Man. I'm going to start Brees. I'm a bench Favre, and I'm a cut Elway. Favre, I still can't get over the 336 career interceptions and also interceptions in pivotal situations.
And how many years?
You started who? You started who?
Brees.
Mm-hmm.
He only did that. He only did that to make.
No, I'm
Louis feel
picking
better,
Breeze
wrong,
bro.
because
Leaf.
no,
You just wrong.
unlike you, Leaf, I pay attention to football. This stuff you're saying is nothing but insane, bro.
Come
Of
on,
all
bro.
people,
Like,
you call Drew Brees overrated.
I'm telling you, man, come on,
I
bro. I'm
mean,
not. I'm
I
not.
know I can't.
Listen. I
I know
understand
I
the.
can't
I
Drew
get the
Brees.
numbers, bro. But come on, bro. Like,
I mean,
stop
I know I
dragging it.
can't Drew
He
Brees,
won.
but I
He
ain't
literally
talking
won a
no
Super
great
Bowl
shit.
without
Like
his
Drew Brees is fringe top 5, bro. Like, stop, man. Get out of here.
All right. I'm not even going to pay attention to that. Trey. I don't know if you noticed, but my man Brandon from the block, he wanted me to ask you this question: who are your top 5 quarterbacks of all time?
Top five. Oh, Brady, Manning, um,
Is this
Elway.
no? Is this no particular order, or this is
No,
an
no,
order?
he wanted to ask Trey in top 5 in that order.
Brady,
Oh, okay, my fault.
Brady, Manning, Elway, Marino. Number five. Who would be?
Whoa! You
Who
said
the hell number 3?
Don't interrupt him. Don't interrupt him. No.
And who would
Let
be
him
number?
finish. Let him finish. You said
Who?
Brady, Manning, Elway,
Manning, Elway,
Marino.
Marino,
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting to number five. I'm trying to see who would be number five.
No Montana for you?
Nope.
Ew.
Yeah. I'm gonna interrupt him
No.
No.
See,
I'm doing that.
and y'all thought I was crazy, huh?
No,
That's
you're
what it
still
was.
crazy. You're still crazy.
Y'all
You're not
thought I was wild. No, I'm
That's
not.
one
No,
thing
I'm
for
not.
sure. You
I
voted
said
for Cocoa
Drew
Puffs.
Brees was fringe top 5, and I meant it, bro. Ain't nobody argue me on that.
Oh my!
Wait a minute, Trey. You don't even have Joe Montana top 5?
Who's the last quarterback? Who's the last quarterback? 'Cause
Where
you
my
got,
headset at,
you
bro?
got 4. You got Brady,
I
Manning,
have four. I have four.
Elway, and Marino. Okay, who's the 5th?
You know, it's Jim Kelly.
No, Aaron Rodgers. No Aaron Rodgers. No. Leaf, get him, bro. He
Wait a minute.
violated your
Wait a
man.
minute. Let
Bro,
me
you got
talk.
Jim Kelly a top 5?
Jim
Yes.
Kelly?
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
crazy.
Next segment, man. Next
No,
segment.
we gotta
man.
get to you. This.
Nah,
we gotta
hell no.
Are you
I'm not
serious
arguing this.
right
Leave.
now,
This is
bro?
my
Next,
pod. I can do whatever I want, man. You don't tell me what
right,
to do.
but listen, please, pretty please, we should go on top. Next
Hell
segment.
no, not after what you said. The disrespect, the audacity. Somebody should
No.
slap you in the face after what you said about Drew Brees, man. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, man.
Jim
How can
Kelly
you?
over Aaron Rodgers is blasphemy too. We not gonna let it. No Joe Montana.
Hey, Trey, let me ask you this, bro. I got to ask you this. You listening, bro?
I'm listening. I'm listening to all y'all. I can hear you.
Do you put Jim Kelly? And I'm just asking. I'm not trying to be antagonistic. Do you put Jim Kelly in your top 5 because of the K gun offense and how he was able to run the no huddle and kind of revolutionize doing that?
No, I put him in my top five simply because he took a franchise like Buffalo, who was, let's just be honest. You want to talk about a franchise who was not it? They was terrible. Yeah, granted, they drafted Andre Reed, Bruce Smith, and I think Thurman Thomas came. I think Thurman Thomas came after that though.
Thurman
He came
Thomas
like
was there for all the Super Bowl runs. So.
he came like he was there for the run. But I'm saying he came the year after Jim did.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say this. Number one, hey, your list, not a crazy list, but your list nevertheless. Are you aware out of all of those quarterbacks that you picked in your top 5, Jim Kelly had arguably the most talented team on that list and never won one Super Bowl?
By far.
Because not only did he had two Hall of Fame wide receivers in Andre Reed and James Lofton. James Lofton don't get a lot of credit. And people talk about Thurman Thomas, but Kenneth Davis was a great running back as well.
Well, I would say
wait.
Yeah.
Then you had a stacked linebacker core with Darryl Talley, Cornelius Bennett, and Shane Conlon. Then you had Columbus, Georgia's own Nate Odoms at the cornerback position. He was a Pro Bowler. And, you know, all of those weapons, and not to mention Marv Levy. Not to mention Marv Levy, yet he did not beat any of the teams that he came up against. So I have to ask you, how are we able to put him on top team? To a certain extent, and I will say to a certain extent, I understand Marino because he didn't have the talent. He had to deliver them much like Josh Allen is doing with the Buffalo Bills right now. But Jim Kelly in top 5 conversations with the talented teams that he had, with Pro Bowlers at every position and Hall of Famers at every single position. Not to mention you have the all-time sack leader in Bruce Smith, and in the middle of your reign as the great quarterback of that franchise, you had an MVP caliber running back who won the MVP, who had 2,003 yards from scrimmage during his MVP year, and you still cannot win a Super Bowl after going 4 straight times and going to the AFC Championship 5 years in a row. I cannot get with that.
Well, to piggyback off of what you just said, 3 out of those 4 losses, his teammates sold him. 3 out of those 4.
Couldn't get
The
one.
first one was Scott Norwood missed the field goal. Then there was the one where Thurman Thomas was just a dumbass and forgot his helmet. Then there's the other one where the defense just gave up in the second half.
You do realize during that first Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys, the offense turned the ball over 10 times.
The only one where I say it was like really his fault was that first time they played the Cowboys, where he got knocked out, where they turned the ball over, then he got knocked out of the game.
Yeah, they turned the ball, and he himself turned the ball over 5 out of those 10 times. And then Frank Wright came in.
Didn't Frank Wright get him to the Super Bowl one time, bro?
Frank Wright did get him to the Super Bowl by defeating the Houston Oilers in that 35-7 comeback win. So I mean, I understand. Hey, he's he's an all-time great, Jim Kelly, and I'm not taking anything away from him. But out of every last one of those quarterbacks that you named in the top 5, he had arguably the most talent that he had the best players money could buy on that team. And still he could not deliver a Super Bowl. And not only that, you know, you got to think about the NFC Championship that he lost in 1988 when he faced Boomer Esiason during his MVP year.
Well, of course they lost that when Cincinnati was on the road that year.
But they had that same team, Trey.
Yeah, they had that same team, but they was just getting started.
I can understand what you're saying because they didn't start the K-Gun offense until the next year. However, that team was more talented.
One thing I will say, the one thing they won't say, really, the K-Gun offense came from Cincinnati.
Yeah, the West Coast version of it, but the K-Gun offense came from their tight end. This name started with a K. That's why they call it the K-Gun offense, because they used to roll him out as a wide receiver in the slot. That's why they called it the K-Gun offense.
Yeah,
he was on there the whole time. The only thing that they did different in that offense that year was do the no huddle. The only thing they did differently is do the no huddle. The K-Gun offense was always the K-Gun offense. The only thing they did is do the no huddle the very next year after they lost the NFC Championship to Boomer Esiason and Ickey Wood. That's the only thing that was different about that team was the no huddle.
All right, y'all. Let's move on. We got a couple more start benches and cuts, and which ones you want. So we're gonna definitely do WWE. Aiden Harrison, I know you don't follow WWE. You don't have to do this one. Hardy or the Dudley Boys?
Please. Oh, man. Oh.
All right, Trey. I'm going to let you go first. You want to go first?
Oh, man. It's the hardest, and it ain't close.
Wow.
Trey is out of his rabbit ass mind, bro. This is
I love
3D.
the Dudley boys, love them to death. But as far as impact, dog, no, no, no. I got the Hardys, dog.
As far as hold up, let me explain something to you, bro. Like, well, listen, and because I was in Philly, bro. Like when I wasn't supposed to be in the mid '90s in some of them shows, bro. They revolutionized an era. Nobody was doing tables. Nobody was doing none of that, bro, until they came into the fold. Nobody, bro. Like, and the Hardys was there in '96, bro. Like, and they was having matches too, bro. Like, and they wasn't doing that. No, like, if you want to talk about innovative, bro, like they did the damn thing, bro. Like, for real, bro. Like,
And one thing I like about the Hardys is the fact that they were underdogs. They
and
were never
before
supposed
you
to make it.
continue, the they finishing move was protected all the way until TNA. It was protected for years.
That's not true. The
Well,
first
not
that was
TNA. Not TNA. What you
ECW
call
was
it?
the first time the 3D was kicked out by Masato Tanaka, and then in TNA they made it seem like Chris Sabin was the first one to kick out of it, but the first person to kick out of 3D was Masato Tanaka in ECW.
Damn, I remember that.
You talk about the new ECW. You're absolutely right. It was Tanaka, but to me, bro, like to go and all to go where they've been in all of those different brands, bro, and to remain a tag team. I remember the only time the when Bully had the singles run, obviously he had that one singles run, but for
That's
them to
not
be a
your.
tag team in so many different
Good point.
promotions across and to do what they did, bro, for over 20 years and the way that they did it. Like, man, I don't get me wrong. Listen, I love what the Hard. I'll forever have respect for what the Hardy's done. Especially specifically Jeff Hardy, man. Jeff Hardy. There's nobody other than Mick Foley. Probably there's nobody that put more on the line than Jeff Hardy, bro. I don't even know how he's still standing. Be honest with you, bro. But 3D, man. Like, ain't nobody doing it. Ain't nobody. No, it's 3D for me, man. I'm not doing this.
All right. Trey has Hardy's. Leaf has Dudley. Luis?
Yeah, for me, if we're going straight WWE or just in wrestling in general, the Dudley Boys, and for me, why I say the Dudley Boys, you go with the Hardy Boys within the WWE. They didn't have that one significant WWE tag team title run.
No, they
Dudley
didn't.
Boys had multiple, and on top of that, if we look at the grand scheme of pro wrestling, go to any wrestling school, and you mentioned tag team wrestling. The epitome of tag team wrestling in the face of tag team wrestling, it's the Dudley Boys. There's only two other teams that are in the same breath as the Dudley Boys in terms of championships, and that's the Road Warriors and the Steiner Bros. The Dudley Boys have made it incredibly unfair for every other tag team to catch up to them because the Dudley Boys at their peak, no questions asked, was the best tag team on the planet. The Hardy Boys are cool. They were cool. They were cool visually, but they never had the dominant runs that the Dudleys had, and they never took over tag divisions like the Dudleys have had. Now, have the Hardys been a part of iconic moments? Sure, the Dudley Boys have had as well. And on top of that, a thing that gets underrated, the Hardy Boys, when they stayed as a team or stayed associated with each other, and when they were single stars, Jeff was WWE champion, but Matt Hardy was ECW champion. That's nowhere near anything Jeff did. When the Dudleys stayed associated together, they put on one of the best modern day storylines for modern day wrestling, which is the Aces and Eight storyline. And when and,
Oh my
and when
God! I knew you
and
were
when
gonna
the
say
Oh,
that.
and when the
let him
Dudley
finish. Let him
and
finish.
when the Dudley Boys stay associated with each other as single stars, Bully Ray was the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, one of the very best heels in the company's history, while Devon was the television champion, also being one of the best heels in the company's history. So them being associated with each other, character work was much better, match quality was much better, and their range was much better. And as a team together, they literally took over everywhere they went, from ECW to the WWF to New Japan Pro Wrestling and to TNA. Have the Hardys gone and won championships everywhere? Sure. But we all know once the Hardys win the championships and they lose them, that's it. They're going separate ways. It happens every time. Happened in WWE, happened in TNA. Only time it didn't happen was in Ring of Honor because they were only there for like a month. But it happens every time. The Hardys win a championship. Once they lose it, they disband. Once the Dudleys lose a championship, they don't disband. They stand together. And that's unfortunate.
All
So,
right, keep
not the
cooking,
Hardys.
Luis.
I mean, I got the Dudleys.
Keep cooking. And Brent from the blog saying, "Cook Luis, OMG, Luis chill." Champ.
The most iconic move that we was all trying to do in middle school was what? The 3D. So I'm gonna just be honest with you, and it's not. And I'm gonna just be real, man. Those two guys was part of one of the most monumental matches that I've ever seen in WrestleMania history. And that was the TLC match. Shout out to Mick Foley for coming up with that concept. But I have to say, look, my favorite is the Dudleys. I love the Hardys, but the Dudleys, the only team other than the Road Warriors to win the tag titles in every single promotion known to man. I mean, and for you to be up there with the Road Warriors, considering, I mean, people don't realize it, man. When the arenas pop, when you hear that pop in the arena, that's called a Road Warrior pop. And for you to be up there with those guys as far as winning the tag team championship, and for you to have one of the most iconic move in arguably in tag team history, it's, to me, in tag team history, the two most greatest moves of all time has to be the Doomsday Device from the Legion of Doom, and the Dudleys with the 3D. So, and for you to put ECW on the map when you did, and for you to cut it, hey, if people don't realize this, man, before the Dudleys came into the picture in WWE, really, there was no real tag teams going on in the early 2000s.
Nope.
You know, they was literally putting the tag belt on. Yeah, they was really putting the tag belts on.
Just putting the tag belts on the dudes that had the WWE title, bro.
And even then, so
it was
Champ,
like a revolving door. It's like, remember when X-Pac and Kane was the damn tag. Excuse me, Adam, I apologize. Remember when X-Pac and Kane was the tag team champions at one point. Really,
and they got the tag team title stripped from by the Undertaker in the Big Show.
Big Show, it was basically, hey, you were WWE champions at once. We're gonna drop you down so we can put these guys over, and then we're gonna bring you back up. There was no real tag teams. And then when you talk about the Acolytes, they was just butt whoopers in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? So before the
I gotta cut you off. The only tag team that was legitimate at that time was the New Age Outlaws. That was it.
Shout out New Age Outlaws.
Yeah. But other than that, and even them, as far as ring work, they were more so characters than they were anything, because they was not going up against the LOD and guys like that.
And don't forget, like, also, like, the Dudleys have, like, the little influential things. Like, I don't like the Hardys revolutionized jumping off of like tall shit, but like it's like Leaf said, you got the tables, you got Devon going up there saying "What's up?" Like you see wrestlers do that all the time. But another thing that I will say, and I cannot say this about the Hardys, one thing I will say is even the Dudley boys outside of their prime, when they reach the mid 2000s, you can still argue that they were the best damn tag team on the fucking planet. You cannot say the same about.
And when they left WWE after the mid 2000s, bro, what was the tag team division then?
Jericho, Prime
what was
Time.
the tag team division then until the Usos came around?
It was Jericho, Crime Time, Miz and Morrison,
Primo
and Carlito, Paul London, Brian Kendrick, the Basham Brothers.
The
Don't
Basham
forget,
brothers.
don't forget, we had Cena and Shawn.
The Basham brothers with the
Oh
chick
no,
with the
don't
whip.
forget,
Nugget
man.
Danny Basham,
Don't forget you had CB. You had
yeah,
CB. You know we can't say his name.
Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
The
You had
the Basham brothers with the chick with the black chick with the whip, bro. That was the dominatrix.
Well,
Oh
by
Yes,
god.
that time,
we had a
by that time they
It
ditched
didn't get
that gimmick.
legitimate again until the Usos came around, and everybody knows it.
When the Dudleys left the WWE, they literally went to TNA, dominated in TNA, and TNA also had a partnership with New Japan
I
Pro
agree
Wrestling,
with,
and
I
they won
agree
both
with.
titles. Like you can
At
say
that
Dudley's out
time,
of their physical prime were still you can
I
still make a
mean,
legit argument that they were the best tag team in the world. Like at the like in the early two or when they went to TNA, when we're talking about tag teams, the best tag team in the world, you could probably say it was between the Dudleys, the Motor City Machine Guns, and Beer Money. That's it. That's the three that I'll say were
I
probably the best
mean,
tag
at
team in the
that
world.
time when they went to TNA, it really wasn't no tag teams.
No,
What
that's a
you
lie.
had?
That's a lie. No, that's a
Team
lie.
Canada,
No,
Team
that's a lie.
Canada, AMW.
That animation is fire.
That's
Too
a
bad I
lie.
ain't gonna
Team
never see
Canada,
it, man.
AMW. You had Beer Money. You had the Motor City Machine
But
Guns.
they didn't come until. But they didn't come until later. I'm talking about when
Oh
they
yeah, I
first
remember that shit, bro. The
came in.
nigga sent me the footage of that. Yeah, I went down again, bro. Like so, yeah.
When they first
PSP.
came in.
All right, for
Let
me,
Aiden go.
I'm sorry, Aiden. Go ahead if you want to, Aiden.
I guess not.
No, I think we lost them. But for me, I love the Hardys. I'm not gonna pick them over the Dudleys because the Dudleys obviously are more accomplished. But I do love the Hardys because Jeff Hardy, that Swanton Bomb, all the ladders and chair matches. But we're forgetting another Dudley, Spike
Spike.
Dudley. We keep forgetting about Spike, man. Don't get me wrong.
Spike.
Bubba Ray and Devon, they're great. But
And
let's not
dude,
forget.
I
Let's
I
not forget Spike though.
love Spike, but I
You know the
always
funny thing
thought like
about Spike, bro?
he the dude that always get his ass kicked.
That was his
Spike,
role.
yeah, that was his role.
role.
Yeah, he was the bump
You got to
guy,
make the
but
other person look strong. But the thing is, why I respect Spike so much because he took the bumps that nobody else would be willing to take, bro.
exactly. Like you got to remember, Spike when the fun tip, bro. The night that Brock Lesnar first came in, Spike took some of the meanest power bombs and got chokeslammed out of the ring.
Exactly. I'm like,
Yeah. So
yo.
and the funny thing about Spike, before he went into wrestling, he was a teacher. He was a teacher. He was a substitute teacher. And he went into wrestling and never went back. He went into ECW and never went back.
And that's why, like when he was at ECW and the Dudleys, they was picking on him and
Yeah.
throwing him through tables.
It was a bunch of Dudleys in ECW, bro. Actually, bro. Like it was a bunch of them.
felt so bad for him. They wanted to see him win because he was the smallest. That dude was probably like 150 pounds soaking wet. But
He probably weighed less than that. I think it was like 145.
But hey, the thing is about Spike though, he took he tough as nails. He always took an ass beating, but tough as nails. Always kept coming back.
Very, very tough guy, man. I didn't think he was capable to. I don't think nobody that shot should be taking that punishment ever, but he took it, man. Like, kudos to shout out to Spike, man.
But Leave, you were absolutely right on Jeff Hardy. Boy, he was fun to watch, especially with them table ladders and chair matches.
I say outside of Shane McMahon and Mick Foley, bro, I don't think I've ever seen anybody that was willing to put more on the line than Jeff Hardy, bro. Like he was willing to put more on the line. I don't understand how he is still walking, bro. Mick Foley lives in Long Island. I've seen him sign books. He walks like a penguin. I swear,
he's the king of punishment.
He walks every bit of how he walks is stained from those Hell in a Cell.
You choose a Jeff Hardy over Perk Angle as who put the
body? Oh no! I'm not doing that. No, we're not doing that. No,
we're not doing it. Let's move on. Let's move on.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about like what the matches he had when he was like
at TNA, bro. Like, well, listen.
I always say Perk Angle is the greatest wrestler I've ever seen. I don't care.
Well, listen, we got
greatest wrestler I've ever seen. I don't. I'll put Perk Angle over anybody.
Perk Angle was wild, bro. But yeah.
All right, hold on. We gotta let Aiden get in there. Aiden, you have a choice between the Dudleys or the Hardy. Boys. Which one you want to go with?
I'd go with the Dudleys. The Dudleys are a really, really good tag team. They have been since when did they join WWE? I don't know much about them. I'm sorry.
1990, I think 98 or 99.
Yeah.
99 was when ECW went out of business, guys.
Yep.
So they've been there. They were there at WWE for a long time, a really long time, and they're a really great tag team. Not saying that the Hardy Boys weren't a great tag team either. They're an incredible tag team, but they're not better than the Dudleys, in my opinion.
All right. Brandon from the block said the Usos are better than both the Dudleys and the
No, they
Hardys.
ain't.
I'll say if we're talking
Yo, like, let me say
no
something
no
I ain't want
no
to
no
tell
no no
you.
no 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 no.
No,
I'll say as strictly just WWE because the Usos have not been have only wrestled in one place. If we're going strictly WWE tag teams, I agree. If we're going as wrestling as a whole, fuck no.
And last word says Kurt the Goat Angle.
I'm telling you, Perk Angle, greatest wrestler I'd have never seen in my life. In my life, never seen a performer like it. Greatest
Over Shawn
wrestler,
Michaels.
bro. I'm telling you. Listen. I know I'm not trying to joke when I say Perk Angle. Listen, but unfortunately, when he was on those substances,
I think, yeah,
it was
I ain't
the
gonna lie.
greatest work I've ever seen anybody do.
By far,
Greatest work.
it was.
Like
It definitely was.
the stuff he was doing, you just had to
You
be there, man. It
want
was
to talk about
it
somebody?
was mesmerizing, man.
Yeah, and you want to talk about somebody's body who's messed up. His body, like dog, he's did interviews where he said, "Dog, I can't even really feel nothing because of my neck."
Yeah, nah, it's just crazy.
I I probably say, but Mick Foley to me, King Punishment, man. I don't know how he's still able to do. No, I mean, think about it. Think about it. Think about it, man. Luis, thrown off the top of the cage,
Yeah,
choke slammed through the cage.
yeah,
Them damn thumbtacks.
yeah.
I mean, like
Don't
even
forget about the
Undertaker.
back. Don't forget about the back body drop through the
Hey,
cage, bro.
And
listen.
you forgot, no, you
Even and
forgot
prior
one.
to that, and prior to the match, Undertaker
Don't
had a
forget
broken
about the
ankle.
pedigree on the thumbtacks, neither.
But PSP,
No,
you forgot one.
what?
PSP, you forgot one.
What?
Them 9 chair shots he took when he was handcuffed.
Yes, but at the same time, I'm talking about the Undertaker match, though. Yes, we understand those 9 chair shots. Even Undertaker said himself, "I'm old school." He thought that was way too far.
Hmm.
So, like with
He had a
Mick
tooth up
Foley,
his nose. I thought that was a
Everybody thought
booger.
that was
That was
way
a
too
tooth.
far.
yeah. But I will say this though, Dudley Boys, I got to give the edge to Dudley Boys. But
Hey,
let's
Champ, how you
move
making that face,
into
Champ?
what's wrong with Champ? What,
And
you all
Champ
right,
making
Champ?
that
Hmm?
Champ making that surprise face. That
What's going
I'm
on?
good.
You good?
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Seems like you saw a ghost or something, but anyway. Let's do some music. Rap
This
one real quick.
rap one.
You got Bone Thugs and Harmony, and you got Wu
Oh, that's
Tang Clan.
easy.
Who y'all going?
Uh,
we're going
boy.
first.
Go ahead, Luis.
Oh, for me, this is easy. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I grew up as a Bone Thugs guy personally. I grew up listening to a lot more Bone Thugs, and they got one of my favorite songs with Akon. I tried. Like I love the meaning behind that song. But I grew up a Bone Thugs guy. I'm not saying they're better than Wu Tang. I'm not saying that, but I grew up a Bone Thugs guy, so I'm gonna say
See, the
Bone
one thing I
Thugs.
know how to do, bro, as
I don't know what Lee.
We probably talking to somebody.
Yeah,
yeah. We
but
gonna move
I'm a
him.
Bone Thugs guy though. I'm a Bone Thugs guy.
All right. I mean, hey, ain't nothing wrong with Bone Thugs and Harmony, man. Champ.
I grew up listening to both of these guys, both of these groups. It was great. But I will say this, the purple tape clears anything outright. The purple tape clears anything that Bone Thugs have. And hit for hit, I will say that the Wu-Tang has it. You know, when you think about ice cream, when you think about cream, when you think about, and that's just what they did together. Think about when they spent off of each other and created great music. Cash rules everything around me.
Around me, cream, get the money.
Yeah,
Dollar bills, y'all.
you think about all of those hits. And like I said, not to mention the Purple Tape, man. Chef, the Purple Tape, 5 mics from the source. So, hey, Purple Tape clears anything that I think Bone Thugs has. Although they were with Easy doing his, doing the downhill side. But hey, Wu-Tang, I'm taking them over Bone Thugs, I would have to say, because like I said, the Purple Tape, hey, you could pretty much stop there. But when you think about all of the hits and how they was able to spin off and become even more successful on their own, it's just like, I mean, and look how large that group was. It's damn near 10 of them. And for everybody to have their own set of hits and for them to bring it back together and for you to have a star-studded group like that and everybody shines and everybody can rhyme and everybody has wordplay, hey, I'll leave it at that.
Leaf.
And Wu-Tang is for the kids, man. Everybody know that. Just how they made New York, the rest of New York get on their A's, get on their P's and Q's, bro. They made that happen. They actually made that happen, man. I can't. Had it not been for them, we gotta ask ourselves with Biggie and like the rest of Queens and all of them, bro. They came out before all of them. They came out before all of them. They came out before Nas. They came out before Biggie. They came out before Jay-Z, bro. Like, and they set a precedent, bro. Like, they had set a precedent, bro. Like in the scene, bro. Like before anything, bro. Like, especially in New York. I listen. If some people that will put them over, NWA. So I mean, this for me, it's them, man. But I definitely got to give recognition to Bone Thugs, man, because they brought like a whole totally different style to rap music, bro. Like that, I don't think we ever heard it that's ever really been duplicated. So, but I definitely got to go with Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang for the kids, man.
Trade 25.
Well, if I had to pick between the two, I would say love Wu-Tang, love the success they did their thing on the East Coast. But that group out of Cleveland, Ohio, and this was at the time, I don't think Cleveland, Ohio really had nobody that was rapping other than them. When they came out of nowhere, everybody was like, wait a minute, who the hell are these guys? And why they rapping like that? It's like, bro, that the impact that they have still to this day, when you hear the radio, most of these guys are rapping like they used to rap in the 90s.
All right. Harrison and Aiden.
No, I'm taking Wu-Tang.
Okay. Harrison going with Wu-Tang. Aiden.
It's the more familiar name for Harrison.
I don't know. I think we lost Aiden. Tough one for me.
Now, Aiden said he doesn't know anything about either artist. In the chat.
No, yeah. I mean, don't worry about it.
He's younger, so he wouldn't.
I'm 14. I am 14.
Okay. Wow.
You good,
okay.
man. You good.
But all right. But
you got more knowledge than Kenny.
Don't worry. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm going straight down for that.
Aiden, look, Aiden, you don't have to pick them. I don't blame you for not knowing them, but for me, I'm gonna go with Bone Thugs and Harmony. Although Wu-Tang, just by a hair, that's about it. The Rugged Thuggish Bone, Crossroads, all this, Wishbone, Crazy Bone, Crazy.
Don't
Crazy
forget
Bone is my
for the
favorite one.
love of money.
For the love of money. Love that track. So I'm gonna go with Bone Thugs in this one. And last but not least, whew, I'm gonna let Champ go first.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm out of here on this note.
Aiden, you don't have to know that Aiden is just R&B. You got
Uh,
James Brown. You got I'm sorry. You got Bobby Brown.
Bobby,
You got Keith Sweat. And you got Johnny Gill.
Ew.
Now remember, keep it PG.
No, you know me. I'm not gonna get out of line. So, hey man, let me tell you something, man. The first bad boy of R&B, man, Bobby Brown, mega star, bro. Hey man, I never forget when he made the soundtrack to one of my favorite movies when I was a child. Hey, when he made the Ghostbusters soundtrack. hey, yo,
Who you gonna call?
difficult choice, but hey, man, look here. I'm starting the bad boy Bobby.
All right.
Bad boy Bobby.
All right.
Uh, hey, when it comes to hits, everybody remember nobody. Everybody remember nobody. So so I'm benching Key Sweat, and I'm cutting Johnny Gill, bro.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, what it was.
Joshua Bailey, go check him out. He's on the Stay Tuned podcast every Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Check him out, man. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. It's a start, bench, and cut between Bobby Brown, Keith Sweat, and Johnny Gill. And it's a tough one for me. I'm starting with Bobby. My prerogative. Don't Be Cruel. Best-selling album of 1989. Hits. Don't Be Cruel. Every Little Step. Ronnie. Rock With You. And of course, My Prerogative. Bobby changed the game as far as with R&B because New Edition, they voted him out, champ. Remember, they voted him out because management from New Edition convinced them, listen, either you keep him or else he's going to jeopardize your career. King of Stage, I don't know. Did you listen to a little bit of that album, King of Stage, by champ, from Bobby?
Yeah, I listened to that one. Like I said, that was a great album too. I mean, it's crazy that nearly all his albums didn't go platinum, but hey, man, like I said, for him to make a theme, so you're not going to get a better theme song for a movie than On Our Own for the Ghostbusters. That was arguably one of the best soundtrack songs, other than Deep Cover 187. You know, for those who know what that is, you know. Those are the top two songs for a soundtrack that you're ever going to get. On Our Own by Bobby Brown and 187 by Snoop and Dre for Deep Cover. So, hey man, those, hey, I'm gonna listen to that after this part is over.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna listen to some Keith Sweat after. Joshua Bailey, Twisted is an all-time classic by Keith Sweat, and
Yeah.
of course, I mean a lot of great songs on that album. But Bobby Brown, man, dancing. People forget how great of a dancer Bobby was too. So let's not forget that as well. Luis, who you starting benching and cutting?
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. For me, I'm gonna be the first to start Keith Sweat. I'm gonna bench Bobby Brown. I'm gonna cut Johnny Gill. That's
right.
what I'm gonna do.
Aiden, don't worry, you don't have to get into this one. Trey, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Who you starting benching and cutting?
Starting Keith Sweat, benching Bobby Brown. I'm cutting Johnny Gill.
All right.
Johnny Gill, bro. I think Johnny Gill probably like as a solo artist. It just didn't work. Like him being in a group, oh, it was fantastic. But him by himself, it was like, I don't know.
Really?
He
I mean,
was
Like, yeah, he had the what, but he had the one song, the one record that he did. Then he did the Boomerang soundtrack. Them records was that song was pretty good, but other than that, it was like most of his big hits was with New Edition or with LSG.
Trey lives to hate, yo. Man,
Champ. Do you want to respond?
I
ahead,
have no
T.
rebuttal.
I feel
Listen, you need to listen to some my. You need to listen to some LSG, or something, man. But Johnny
I
Gill,
mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He
but
don't.
he was but as even as a solo artist, he wasn't that bad. Now he wasn't new. He was as a solo artist, he wasn't like New Edition. But as a solo artist, he was kind of good though, Trey.
I'm not saying that. It's just like it just was like compared to Keith Sweat, Bobby Brown, like. Mm-mm.
Bro, my thing is everybody from that group spit
Disagree with you.
dog.
Last word.
My thing is, hey, with Johnny Gill, the hits go on and on. My, there you go. It would be you. Then on top of that, can you feel the magic in my hands that touch and rub you the right way? I mean, you can't tell me you wouldn't put that music on, man. Hey, let's get in the mood. Hey, I'm still waiting. I mean, not to mention back then, this is the lost art PSP, and you can attest to this as well. Remember when people used to put out their Christmas albums, bro?
Oh yeah,
Johnny
yeah,
Gill had one of the best Christmas albums you want to have.
yeah. No question about that. I mean, and of course, Jay Bailey, give him credit where credit's due. Let him know, champ. But Bobby, to me, I give Bobby because of the dancing, the electricity, the swagger. Johnny has the best. I think Johnny may have the best singing voice between him or Keith Sweat. If you had a choice, though, champ, between singing voice, Gill or Sweat.
mm,
I'm t-
Well,
uh,
as far as voice,
I'm taking
that's
Sweat.
not a question.
Take
yeah,
Sweat.
I'm gonna take Sweat.
I take
Hmm.
Sweat though, man.
As
But Gill,
far as
though,
voice is like, yeah, Johnny Gill has way better voice than Keith Sweat does.
but no question about it. When it comes to dancing, nobody can touch Bobby.
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 Hey, I'm convinced Powerline was based on Bobby
Well,
Brown, bro.
well, and a lot of people don't. I'm like, Bobby Brown can easily come out and say, like, dude, I made all this. All these dudes copied me. Aaron Hall, R. Kelly, all these guys copied my style.
All right. Well, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Appreciate everybody for hopping on, man. Any final words before we wrap up the show and tell them where to follow y'all at?
Louise,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, not much. Super Mighty Mouse Lou. That's my sports page, or just over athletics page. Louis Knows Tunes on TikTok. It's an honor being on here, PSP. Damn, we really went over time, and I feel really, really, really bad. But yeah,
That's fine.
tune in next week though.
Next week. Next week. Aiden, appreciate you for coming on, man. Tell them where to follow you at, man.
If you guys want to follow me on you subscribe to me on YouTube. It's at Aiden Coleman. As usual, follow me on TikTok. Just Aiden Coleman, no space. On Instagram, Aiden underscore Coleman. I always shout out PSP all the time on there. And that's mostly it for socials. I'll probably be posting out a Royal Rumble predictions video tomorrow. Maybe stream it. Honestly, I don't know. Just depends what I want to do. And then Sunday, I get the stress about the Ravens.
All right. Harrison, tell them where to follow you at, man.
Follow me on TikTok right here. Same thing as my Twitter. If you want to follow me follow me on Instagram is Harrison_Wisdom99. Same thing as my Snapchat. And Duke, it's game day. Let's go Duke. Let's beat Clemson.
Hope y'all lose.
Hope you guys lose too.
Not happening. Best team in the country.
And of course, last but not least, undisputed world champ. Always a pleasure having you on the pod, and tell them where to follow you at, my man.
Hey, first of all, thank you, PSP, for always inviting me to the show. Hey, appreciate it as always. Thanks to the rest of the panel. And on the closing note, follow me on Undisputed Champ on TikTok, Undisputed World Champ on TikTok, and World Champ _ 2.0 on the gram. Shout out to Columbus, Georgia. And hey, PSP, it's on you.
All right, man. And y'all know exactly where to follow me at. Go follow me, Sports PSP. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Already at 1.3 thousand. The Lamar Jackson video already over 11,000 views. It
Love
is
it.
getting
Love it.
crazy with
Love
all
it.
these views I'm getting. Appreciate it to the panel. Appreciate it to folks, friends, and family. Love doing the podcast thing. New episode will be out next Friday night at 9 p.m. A lot to discuss regarding the AFC NFC championship picks. Hopefully, we'll get into some NBA and definitely some more start benches and cuts. And on that note, we is out. Peace.